by to Hy-Vee here in Eau Claire and grab yourself a free breakfast until 10 a.m. So we'll have updates throughout the morning here. But, yeah, again, I was really hoping that we were going to be talking about a Victory Tuesday here, a lot to celebrate and such, veterans and that. But Packers fans, let's hear some frustration that you got going on here with your ball club. What the heck? What is going on with this green and gold team? 10-7 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles last night. Really can't blame the defense. I mean, you pitch a shutout until halftime, then they come out with a field goal, and then a couple plays later on one drive, they're able to put up a touchdown there, and still Green Bay had a shot at the end to either take a lead or to tie the game, and offense still fell short. It's a perfect day to have a little maybe grind my gears Tuesday, brought to you by our good friends from Toys and Ford, because I've got a feeling, Packers fans, that we've got some things to be about when it comes to this team, right? When it comes to this team, I got a feeling that we've got some things to be grinding our gears about, and it might start with the head coach. Might start with the head coach for this ball club, Mr. Matt LaFleur. I'm sitting there watching this game last night and watching the confusion, frustration within this offense. I mean, there's just, I'm trying to choose my words carefully here because there's a lot of frustration within me right now. Watching this ball club. Watching the inefficiency from this offense carefully here because there's a lot of frustration the predictability right now from watching this ball club. I don't know there's what inefficiency from this offense carefully here because there's a lot of frustration predictability right now from watching this not in sync right now. I don't know there's what inefficiency from this offense. You know, they're not cohesive. They're not on the same page. Watching this not in sync right now. But I mean, I don't know. There's a top tier offensive play caller, and you're going to be the head coach, and you're still going to be the primary play caller in this thing. They're not cohesive. They're not on the same page. You gotta do better than this. Watching this right now. But I mean, I don't know. There's a top tier. LaFleur is now coaching. Top tier offensive play caller. This is a big second half for his future. Going to be for this primary play caller in this thing. They're not cohesive. They're not on the same page. Considering you got to do a look at them. Watching this, and it's a lot of frustration. I don't know. There's a top tier. LaFleur is now coaching. Top tier. Offensive play call. Flabbergasted. This is a big second half for his future. Incredibly disappointed this team in this thing. I usually they're not on the same page. You gotta do a look at them. Watching this type of stuff. But I'm watching this, and it's a lot of frustration. I don't know. There's a top tier. His job for the rest of the year. You all dressed offensive play call. Flabbergasted. This is a big second half for his future. Disappointed. I don't think I've ever usually they're not on the same page. You gotta do a look at this type of stuff. But I'm watching this, and it's a lot of frustration. I don't know. I gotta get top tier job for the rest of the year. You all dressed offensive play call. This is a big incredibly disappointed. I don't think I've ever usually they're not on the same You got to do watch this kind of stuff. But I'm watching this and I don't watch this. Up to your coach job. I do all the rest. Offensive play. You didn't tell me you incredibly disappointed. I don't think I usually you got to watch this kind of stuff. But I'm watching this and I don't watch this. Up to your coach job. I do all the rest. Offensive play. You didn't tell me you incredibly disappointed. I don't think I usually watch this kind of stuff. But I'm watching this and I don't watch this. Up to your coach job. I do tell me something there. You didn't tell me sometimes you probably I don't think I usually watch this kind of stuff. But I'm watching this and I don't watch this. Up to your coach job. I do tell me something
ridiculous and when they went up there,
you didn't tell me sometimes you probably I don't think I usually watch this kind of stuff. But I'm watching this and I don't watch this. Up to your coach job. I do tell me something
ridiculous is going on with when they went up there.
You didn't tell me sometimes you probably I don't think I usually watch this kind of stuff. But I'm watching this and I don't watch this. Up to your coach job. I do tell me something.
The Giants were trying to when they went up there.
You didn't tell me sometimes you probably I don't think I usually watch this kind of stuff. But I'm watching this and I don't watch this. Up to your coach job. I do tell me something.
The Giants were trying to when they went there.
You didn't tell me sometimes you probably I don't think I usually
When they went there,
you didn't tell me what's going on here. Can you guys let me know if you can hear it a little bit better? Let me try to turn the volume up, Zach and Petch and that. Let me try turning the volume up a little bit. See if that helps. We got like new computers, so trying to do this on the fly a little bit. So hopefully this can kind of help it out a little bit. Let me know. Let me know, Zach. Let me know, Hetch, if you can hear me on YouTube a little bit. New computer, new setup, so trying to work this out on the fly. So, or if anybody else can go on YouTube and test it out for me, let me know. The volume on here says it's working, but I don't know if it actually is on YouTube and that. So, all right. We got our Hy-Vee game changer. Hy-Vee game changer. Again, this is okay. Hetch says hear you now. Okay, yeah. What up, Adam? How you doing, man? Thank you, sir.
Yep.
There you go. So, game changer, the Hy-Vee game changer. Give me a play, give me somebody that it doesn't have to be the best play. It could just be like a something that doesn't really necessarily show up in the stat sheet. It could be just a certain, like it changed the outcome of the game or changed the flow of the game or such. I'm actually going to go to the Bucks game from last night, and I'm going to go. If you look it up, but Kyle Kuzma, there right at the end of the game. Kyle Kuzma had himself a solid game last night, and the Bucks come from behind win against the Dallas Mavericks, stealing that inbounds pass with just a few seconds remaining, going the other end, putting down the dunk. My game changer is both player Kyle Kuzma, but also that play towards the end of the game. So that is my Hy-Vee game changer for this Tuesday morning. Send me yours. Again, it doesn't have to be from your favorite team. It could be maybe from a game that you watched over the weekend. It could be something from the past week or so, but send me your game changers. Again, hit me up on YouTube or on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen texting line. So if Hetch says he can hear, that's all that matters. Zach, hopefully we can get you back on the YouTube over there too. So, Grind My Gears Tuesday, presented by Toyson Ford, and boy, there is a lot of you. C-Bomb chiming in here too, says, hear you just fine. I'll give a shout out to my brother Kelly, who after 20 years is still serving in the Marines in San Diego, and my buddy Josh Carlson, two great men. So, yes, thank you to those. And to all of you. If you want to do a shout out, if you want me to give a shout out to anybody, text it on over. So, this is from Dan H. Good morning. John Gruden said the Packers would be or should be using Willis on certain downs as part of this offense, which there has been no discussion of at all, since he could debatably be a starter on half the teams in the league. Do I dare say give him a start? This team needs a spark, and he may be it even for a week. I don't think I'm ready to go there. I don't think I'm ready to go there to say bench Jordan Love, even if it is just for a week or so. I don't know if I'm ready to go there. But I will say this. If you look at last year, some of Matt LaFleur's best game planning was with Malik Willis at quarterback. But the other part to that, though, too, is Green Bay could run the ball a whole lot better last year. I mean, when Willis was in, you knew that they were going to be running the football, and they still had success with it. And this year, when you look at the stats, the statistics, the numbers, Green Bay's offensive line, in terms of run blocking, they're not that good. In fact, they're a better pass blocking unit. They're a better pass blocking unit if you believe the numbers, if you look at the numbers. And I think that's why you have a lot of people kind of also saying this team needs to throw the ball more. This team needs to let Jordan Love cook a little bit more. And I've seen a lot of people go out there and say that maybe Jordan Love is handcuffed a little bit from Matt LaFleur. I just feel like the play calling has become so predictable in some of these instances where I mean, how many times last night, run on first, run on second. You're not putting your team in a good position when it's like 3rd and 8. You know, heading into that game last night, Green Bay had the best offense in converting 3rd downs, but that was because they were consistently putting themselves in 3rd and short situations. So the play calling note to put yourself in 3rd and long situations, you're just setting it up for the defense to do whatever the heck they want to do. And it's just we got Surveyor Sam saying, DK, first off, thank you to all the service members past and present, including my cousin Caleb, currently serving in the Air Force over in Korea. But you know what grinds my gears? The refs. This was just bad. How does... I think there's more maybe coming from that tackle. Especially like earlier on. The false starts and the push and all that. I don't know. I'm assuming that's where you're going to go with that, Surveyor, but I'm not quite sure. So, continue to send me your grind my gears. Continue to send me your shout-outs if you'd like. Plenty more green and gold chats coming at you throughout the morning here as we get set for week 11. Yeah, week 11. I'll say this though, I'm kind of getting tired of watching the highlights on the TVs behind me and seeing the poor play. 0 for 6, 2 scrambles, 3 sacks, lost on goal, 1 pressure. Oof. Nice. 8-4 career record with the defense allows fewer than 17 points. Man. I think I saw it a little bit earlier too, what Aaron Rodgers was like 60-something and 4 with that. It's kind of the opposite. Everybody complained Aaron Rodgers doesn't have a defense. Jordan Love has a defense, and maybe their offense isn't doing a whole lot with it and taking advantage of it at this point. So, do you put more blame on LaFleur, or do you put more blame on Jordan Love? Well, we probably know that the answer is somewhere in the middle, somewhere between the two of them. But if you had to pick, who would you put most of the blame on, most of the question marks on, most of the frustration on? Love, LaFleur, offensive line. I'll throw the offensive line in there too. Do you think the inconsistent play or the poor play or the bad play from the offensive line has a huge effect on this too? Your thoughts. Let me know. Okay, we'll take a quick break. First break for this hour. But we'll be back here from Hy-Vee doing the program for their Veterans Day breakfast. Again, stop on by. Get yourself a free breakfast if you are a veteran or you are still serving. They're serving for this free breakfast until 10 a.m. today. Still got seats open here, so get on here and get this free breakfast. All right, quick break. We'll be back here after these quick words.
You're listening to The Dan Kasper Show.
I'd like to make this...
It's that time of year again. The November deer hunt is right around the corner. And before you head out to the woods, make sure you're ready with a stop at Tilden Gun. Whether you're looking for a new rifle, shotgun, ammo, scopes, Tilden Gun has the best selection around and the best prices to match. Seriously, if you're hunting for deals, this is where the trail ends. The crew at Tilden Gun knows their stuff too. They're hunters, they're outdoorsmen. They'll help you find exactly what you need to make this deer season one to remember. And hey, while you're there, maybe start thinking about the holidays. Because let's be honest, the best gift you can give any outdoorsman is something new from Tilden Gun. So before you head to the woods or the gift list, head to Tilden Gun. Great gear, great prices, great people. Tilden Gun, where every hunter's season starts. Give them a visit today at 12427 98th Avenue in Chippewa Falls and check out their website, tildengun.com. Best of luck and be safe in the great outdoors.
Makita's built for the pros who show up early, who don't do shortcuts, only precise cuts. With tools built to last, job after job, year after year. Performance that pays off. Because when the job calls for the best, you answer. And when you need the best, you call on Makita. Built to be best. Available at the Home Depot.
You've got a big day, so you use Unstoppable Scent Boosters to give your laundry non-stop freshness. So no matter how long the day goes, you
can't stop this power, this walk, this pose, this strut, this look, this talk.
Your clothes will be so fresh you can confidently strut into that end of the day meeting like a
bosses. Let's talk business in my office.
Add new Unstoppable beads to your wash for 24-hour non-stop freshness, so you can smell unstoppable.
The following is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways with the purpose of soliciting sales of vacation ownership. For complete details, visit fvgradio.com.
If you want a 100% complimentary stay at a luxury resort in Cancun, airfare not included, then Family Vacation Getaways is your ticket to paradise.
See website for complete details.
We're giving away 5 days and 4 nights to the first 50 callers who can name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird.
An animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. Do you know it?
Call now, 800-417-6411. 800-417-6411. You're also eligible for an exciting bonus vacation to Orlando, Florida for just $498. And don't worry about anything ruining your plans. We can extend your travel up to 18 months. Name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird, and you get a complimentary Cancun resort stay and an optional bonus vacation to Orlando for just $498. What are you waiting for? Call 800-417-6411 and give us your answer.
The proceeding is not a contest and is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways and not sponsored by this program or its affiliates.
Stand by as we continue our dig for the truth and the toy at the bottom of the cereal box. Oh, got it. The Dan Kasper Show.
No, I don't. Oh, that's a good one. I want to do a sports talk one for like you and me.
Okay. I mean, that would be awesome.
I know.
Yeah,
Mark with a quick text says, how about a shout out to all the veterans of the American Legion Post 53 in Eau Claire. They sponsor many great programs, especially for the youth. I appreciate those men and women. Very good shout out, Mark. Thank you for that. Continue to give us some shout outs. Some shout outs that you may have for veterans or maybe those who are still serving. You can text those on over to me at 715-830-1912. So, yeah, Elton Jenkins, he's going to be, we talked a little bit about it earlier on this morning, but he's going to be out probably the rest of the regular season, I would imagine, with that fractured, suffered a lower fractured leg. With that, it looked like, I mean, rolled up on and such. We saw Lane Taylor kind of go with the same injury, but he was able to come back. But Jenkins suffering a fracture in his lower leg, so we'll see how long he's going to be out. That's going to be a question for Dr. Crow when we chat with Dr. Crow next time. So, but you know, Elton Jenkins, that maybe is, dare I say, is it his final play or final game with the Packers? I think that's very likely. I thought even before the injury that it was probably going to be his final year with Green Bay, and you hate to see it end on something like that. Now maybe if they get to the postseason, he's able to come back and get back on the field and such. But time will tell. They got to make the postseason first. They got to make the postseason first. And right now, where's your confidence level? Give me a little bit of a vibe check, Packers Nation, with this current team, with the status of this team. Because it can't be feeling too good right now from what you have seen. Okay, Surveyor, I think finally your other text came through here, so let me revisit the whole thing from Surveyor Sam. So first off, you know what grinds my gears? The refs. This was just bad. How it does, and I'm not talking about the bad play around by everyone, drop balls, missed open guys, bad blocking, it was a defensive grind. but the refs were just horrendous. And there was one thing in particular that was so bad. The right guard for the Eagles was constantly false starting on silent count. You have to be set when the ball is snapped. And when he was constantly moving, from the moment he looked back to the moment the ball snapped, multiple times, it should have been called. I honestly feel like this is going to, not going to make any excuses for the Packers' loss. It wasn't, and Surveyor's not doing that, but not going to make any excuses that was why the Packers lost last night, was because of false starts not being called in that. But I do have to probably imagine that this is going to be, when they get to the off season and when they get to when they get to the decision making on whether to ban the tush push, this is going to be brought up and such. It's going to be brought up, and I think this is going to be probably the nail in the coffin when it comes to whether the tush push is going to stay around and such. So, Tyrell says, "Happy Veterans Day to my dad, Doug. He listens to you every day. Also, let's not go overboard here. They are 6-3, not 6-3, 5-3-1. Not 6-3, 5-3-1, which is third in the division right now, seventh in the playoff standings, in a very loaded playoff standings. Detroit's back up there. You got the Bears, who have a better record than the Packers right now, 6-3. Although I will say, and I know if our resident Bears fan, Hedge, is still listening, Bears are going to have a little bit of a tougher schedule coming up here. Lions, I was looking at this last night because I get into the situation at times when you can tell your team's going to lose, or it's like, okay, you prepare for the worst. Lions going to play the Eagles yet too, so I mean they've got some tough games coming up here. We're not concerned about Minnesota right now. We'll wait for them to catch up, but Green Bay still got a tough schedule too. You got Denver, you got Baltimore, you got all those. You got 2 games with the Bears. You've got another game against the Lions in Detroit on Thanksgiving, which I'm not looking forward to by any means. And then you do factor in those 2 Vikings games. It's tough. It's going to be tough. And it's going to be tough for a lot of those teams in the NFC North. We got Joshua. Blame head coach. Lack of discipline, unnecessary mistakes costing first downs. He's responsible for the play calling. To me, that points all fingers at him and not getting his guys disciplined. He needs to crack the whip on his supporting staff, and the wide receiver group dropping balls is just unacceptable and so frustrating to watch. Offensive line isn't giving time for plays to develop, either running or passing it. It starts in the trenches. So much talent on this team, and they just can't put it together. A whole game on offense. So frustrating to watch, and I don't believe that you can blame that on the refs. It went both ways with bad calls. Yeah, and I don't think Surveyor was blaming by any means. It's just that he was talking about it overall, just how it was called and such. So, Steve-Bomb says, prior to the season, I felt that this team would be better, but their record might not be as good just due to the schedule. My prediction was 11 wins. Do I find 6 more wins in the schedule that's remaining? Not if the offense plays like they have the last 2 weeks. If I had to bet my 401k, this team is on the outside of the playoffs looking in. Surveyor coming in with another text. Give it a second to load up here. But we all need to take a deep breath and realize this isn't the only session or season, Surveyor. We have a 3 to 5 year window. This is a goofy year, and not a single team is head and shoulders above everyone. I still have a confidence of 8 out of 10 for this team. But let me ask you this, Surveyor. Okay, there's a window, but at the same time, is there a window for Matt LaFleur? I mean, we're watching this, and we can kind of tell it's just it's a goofy year. It's maybe not working out. It's got some weird things to it. But let me ask you, Surveyor. You say we have a 3 to 5 year window. Does Matt LaFleur have a 3 to 5 year window? can you kind of sense that there's just something amiss about this offense? Is it something as simple as, hey, maybe they need a change in offense? That's the hard thing to kind of dissect when it comes to these teams where the head coach is the play caller, like the offensive play caller. How much input does Adam Stenavich have? You know, we hear he's like, oh, he's in charge of this. Sometimes they're in charge of red zone or they come up with plays and certain aspects of that. But, you know, we say give up play calling. Some people say Matt LaFleur needs to give up play calling. Do you want to give it up to a guy who hasn't called plays yet before? And it's always kind of difficult to assess how much does the offensive coordinator for a team that doesn't call the plays, how much does he have an impact on the game plan? How much does he have an impact during the game when it comes to some of these? What's his role essentially during the game? But while I agree, I think, you know, for a lot of these players, sure, team-wise, talent-wise, roster-wise, maybe there is a 3-year window, but in Matt LaFleur's case, does he have a 3-year window? Would you give him, if this thing, let me throw this question out there for everybody. If, let's say Green Bay doesn't make the postseason this year, should Matt LaFleur be back? I'd love to hear responses from different sides of this. So, continue to send those good discussion points, everybody. 715-830-1912. Let's take another quick break here as we are broadcasting. If you're just joining in, we're hanging out at Hy-Vee for their Veterans Day breakfast. So again, if you are a veteran or you are actively serving, please stop by and get your free breakfast courtesy from Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. Got a steady stream of veterans and current active military members joining us here. So stop on by, hang out with us, get your free breakfast, and thank you for serving. And text me some shout out to give as well. Zach, really quick, here's my question. A lot of fans want Matt out. Who does Ed bring in if they were to fire Matt? I just don't know if firing Matt helps the team right now. Well, I think, for one, if they were to fire Matt, which they're not going to in season, I don't see that happening. I'd honestly probably be very shocked. Like, really shocked if they did. So they would be bringing somebody in mid-season. But what probably you're going to have a lot of people say is Jeff Hafley should get a shot. Maybe give Jeff Hafley the head coaching reins. Give him, see what you got with him, since he's being talked about as a potential head coaching candidate. Hell, Rich Bisaccia for the Raiders, led the Raiders. Is that their last playoff appearance, was Rich Bisaccia?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Our resident Raider fan, Matt here, said, yeah, that was the last time. So, I mean, you give it to him? That's where, last night that image of LaFleur, back on the bench, going through his tablet, looking at plays and that, I think that's where Rich Bisaccia's assistant head coaching kind of comes into play, because obviously LaFleur's not watching what's going on. That's got to be what Bisaccia's role is, assistant head coach. He kind of takes over when the defense is on the field and that. But all right, quick break. We got to take one. Plenty more to get to here. Continue to send me your thoughts on that texting line or on the YouTube stream. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
The Dan Kasper Show will be right back.
These Kappas face.
You've tried to be subtle.
Nice necklace.
You've tried making little suggestions.
Sure did like that necklace.
You've even been very specific.
Sure did like that necklace with the 2 diamonds and the emerald cut ruby on the 18-karat white gold 16-inch chain and lobster glass.
But no matter how many hints you've dropped,
I really like that necklace.
It just isn't getting through. Luckily, you've got Laskers, because right now, when you call or visit Laskers, they'll help you make out your holiday wish list. And if you do it before November 29th, you'll be entered to win a pair of super stunning, sparkly, 1 total carat diamond stud earrings. You'll get your perfect wish list, suitable for dropping not-so-subtle hints, and you could win a gorgeous pair of diamond stud earrings.
Hey, necklace!
Laskers Drop a Hint. Make out yours today. It helps him pick out the right gift and means you won't have to.
I like that necklace from Laskers. Won't you please take a hint and get it for
Laskers, across from Oakwood Mall and at laskers.com.
You've got a big day, so you use Unstoppable Scent Boosters to give your laundry non-stop freshness. So no matter how long the day goes, you
Can't stop this power, this walk, this pose, this strut, this look, this talk.
your clothes will be so fresh you can confidently strut into that end of the day meeting like a
Bosses. Let's talk business in my office.
Add new Unstoppable Beads to your wash for 24-hour non-stop freshness, so you can smell
Disappointed that Jair didn't play
unstoppable.
last night. I was kind of hoping that he came back and played.
Hi, I'm Chef Franklin Becker. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
Some investments grow in value. Others change your life. Ashcroft & Oak has been your local jeweler, trusted over 115 years. For now and forever.com. Ashcroft & Oak. For now and forever.
Is the government shut down or not? And what about food stamps? Let's take a look at some of our food and farm news on Sports Talk 105.1 and AM 790. U.S. Department of Agriculture under the Trump administration has ordered states to immediately undo any steps taken to issue full Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program or SNAP benefits for November. The USDA's memorandum is a follow-up to the guidance shared previously. States must continue to process and load SNAP benefits at a rate of 65% of previous amounts, not 100% of the benefits that were issued before November. If states fail to comply and issue SNAP benefits at 100%, the USDA will be taking various actions, including cancellation of the federal share of state administration costs and holding states liable for any amounts issued over that 65% allotment. Last week, legislation was reintroduced by 3 United States senators that would increase marketing opportunities for smaller meat processors and give consumers more options to buy local beef. The direct interstate retail exemption for certain transactions, called direct, that act is designed to give livestock and poultry producers greater access to consumers nationwide by creating a narrow exemption to allow small producers and butchers greater flexibility for interstate sales without compromising food safety or jeopardizing market access in international trade. The Direct Act would allow state-inspected meat processors to sell beef across state lines in limited quantities and through online stores direct to consumers. The bill also addresses food safety by ensuring a paper trail exists for tracing and containing potential food safety issues. That's a look at some of our food and farm news on Sports Talk 105.1 and AM 790. I'm Bob Bosold.
Broadcasting live from the TDS Sports Talk 105.1 studios, it's the Dan Kasper Show.
Catch up on a few texts that we got going on here. We've got Surveyor here, waiting for the music to stop playing here, so you can hear me. There we go. Now she's starting to limit there. So Surveyor says, let me go up here. Surveyor's pulling the best impression of a C-bomb here with the grammatical errors, man. You're not firing a guy with a top 12 win percentage as head coach all time. Surveyor's saying his seat isn't even warm. We're also missing our center, tight end, and three out of our top 4 wideouts. Bull Melton was our third receiver last night. Do you blame LaFleur for drop passes or missed blocks or missed throws? The man can only do so much as a coach from the sideline. C-Bomb says, we've got, let me scroll it up here because we've got people coming in with some long text. I love this. If we look at successful franchises like Pittsburgh, San Francisco, the Rams, one thing they have in common is consistency at the top. They ride with their coach even in the down years. I don't think LaFleur should be gone, but he should feel a little bit of heat. His teams are not ready to play, and that is my problem. My grind my gears is I'm sick of watching a team that cannot play a full game in all 3 phases. I have a texture popping up here. Let me try to load it up here. I don't know if I have a name with the texture here. Time for a new offensive line coach. Our top lineman is the 72nd ranked in the NFL. They can't block a 4-man front. I'm assuming, are you using the Pro Football Focus ranking there? The weird thing is they seem to be better with Jenkins out. Oh, that's Carl from Colfax. What up, Carl? How you doing? The weird thing is they seem to be better with Jenkins out. So, the weird thing with this whole situation with LaFleur is going to be, so the example that I keep going through, remember a couple of years ago, Philadelphia, it was after they went to the Super Bowl, they lost the Super Bowl to the Chiefs, and that following year it was a down year for the Eagles. And what was the narrative all around Philadelphia and all around the Eagles? It was, are they going to make a coaching change? Is Sirianni going to be out? You could kind of just tell it was a weird situation. It was, things weren't gelling, right? And I mean, it was so hot out there. The talking points was like, oh man, maybe Philly is actually going to make a change after a year after they had just went to the Super Bowl. So instead of that, Sirianni, for what it, whether we fully believe this, which I think is true, Howie Roseman kind of told him who he was going to hire as his coordinators. It was Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio. What happens? They end up winning a Super Bowl, and Nick Sirianni's job is safe because he wins a Super Bowl in that. So I don't know if something similar like that would have to happen for LaFleur. That's just that example was kind of running through my head last night and this morning. Let's say Green Bay, even if they make the playoffs, but maybe it's 10 wins and such. Could they pull something similar? Would they do something similar? And now Halfley, obviously, you're not going to move on from him unless he gets a head coaching job elsewhere. But, I mean, would they do something like that when in terms of an offensive coordinator? But that is an example for some of you saying right now not to move on, from a head coach. You look at the Sirianni one where, again, after they lost that Super Bowl to the Chiefs that following season, a down season, there was a lot of people that thought Sirianni would be fired, that he would be let go. They held on to him, but they brought in 2 very established veteran coordinators, and the first year they win a Super Bowl. Now, the difference is that Sirianni doesn't call plays. Matt LaFleur has to call plays, and Matt LaFleur would have to give up play calling. And you kind of look across the league, who would be somebody that you would bring in to call plays in a similar style offense? Do you bring in his brother, who is the offensive coordinator with the Rams right now? I mean, the Rams are kind of cooking and such, but do you bring in somebody from that tree? I think you can make cases for all over the board. I think it's kind of interesting, though, too, to see, for example, somebody who covers the Packers as their job, Matt Schneidman from The Athletic. I mean, he even posted last night that Matt LaFleur's job is, I mean, he let me bring up the actual tweet from Matt Schneidman. And LaFleur, Matt Schneidman says, I don't think it's far-fetched to say Matt LaFleur is coaching for his job the rest of the season. So this is a guy who covers the Packers, for his full-time job, for the Athletic, a high-profile spot. To go out there in public and say that, I think is kind of telling, a little eye-opening. Now, he was asked about, or Matt did ask LaFleur in his presser last night about, his job status and such, and, LaFleur kind of downplayed it and such. He said, I'll leave that for everybody else to decide. I'll just focus on the day-to-day and try to do. I feel like you're always coaching for everything in this league. That's just my mindset. It's always been that way. You can't ever exhale. You got to always be pushing. That's just my mindset, and that will be my mindset until they tell me not to coach anymore. So, all right. Vibe, 1 through 10 in terms of job status right now for Matt LaFleur. Maybe we call it, instead of a vibe, maybe we call it the hotometer. How hot is it? How warm is it? 10, scorching hot, where it's burning your butt cheeks. 1, it's as cool as an ice block. Where do you think it's at? Where do you think it's at? Let me know. I'm genuinely curious to get after that. C-Bomb says, you're talking about the Eagles. Remember, a couple down seasons, and they got rid of Andy Reid. He goes to Kansas City, gives them stability at the top, and you know what the Chiefs are now. But I would argue with the Andy Reid thing with the Eagles, it felt like that was just, it was time for both sides to move on. I felt like, that you had an Eagles team that just wasn't gelling, it wasn't clicking. It honestly felt a little similar to McCarthy at the end of the Packers tenure. It felt like it was probably time for both sides to go their separate ways. And remember, Andy Reid had been there for a long time. And one Super Bowl appearance too, so I think there was a little bit of that. We're talking about, Nick Sirianni a year after getting to the Super Bowl. The season after, there was talk about him, is he going to get fired at that point? They gave him another shot with some new coordinators, and they win the Super Bowl. So, the wild card in this whole thing is going to be Ed Policy. We don't know the type of president, decision maker that Ed Policy is going to be. If it was Mark Murphy, we're probably thinking, Matt LaFleur is going to be still good to go and such. We haven't seen any major decisions yet from Ed Policy when it comes to stuff like this. We don't know. It is such a wild card thing. And the other part of this too, we're focusing so much on Matt LaFleur. Has Goody done his part? We go back to when Ed Policy was officially the new president and that, and then you had I'm not going to give Goody and LaFleur a contract extension, but I don't believe in a lame duck situation and that sort of thing. All right, so Goody, you look at the moves that he made. He goes out and acquires Micah Parsons, big-time move. But he also made the signings of Aaron Banks and Nate Hobbs, which right now probably not the greatest free agent signings in the world. If we're talking about LaFleur being on a hot seat, is Goody on a little bit of a hot seat too, or do you think he has done enough? He has put together a very solid team. He has made the right moves, and it's mostly on LaFleur's shoulders here. Where does the responsibility lie? Forgot to give this shout out here quick. Bloomer Tony saying shout outs to my, I read it earlier, now I'm just trying to load it up here again. Bloomer Tony, hopefully you're still listening. Hopefully Playing T is listening here. But send me your shout outs too if you want to give a shout out to a veteran or somebody who is actively still serving here on this Veterans Day. But Bloomer Tony gave a shout out to Mr. Plain T. It's not loading up for me, but Plain T, if you're listening right now, Bloomer Tony giving you a shout out for your years of service. So big time thanks to one of our top listeners, Plain T, for his years of service. So, and all of you too, listen. If you want to give it a specific shout out, you can send those on over, text it to us, or you can hit me up on the YouTube video stream. Let me see if I can load it up here before we got to take our final break for this hour. Here we go. Shout out. Shout out to my Kasper Classic golf partner and avid DK fan, Plain T. Thank you for your service, 8 years in the Army. So, We've got John from AJM Automotive. Can we give a shout out to all the veterans in the area? Yep, from AJM Automotive, a shout out to all the veterans in our area. So big thanks to John for sending that over as well. Continue to send me your grind my gears, or you can do it on the texting line 715-830-1912, or hit us up on the YouTube stream. Also, don't forget, it is not only a grind my gears, it is a Hy-Vee game changer. Who is the game changer, game-changing player from the last week or so? Doesn't have to be the best play. It could be a play that maybe doesn't light up the stat sheet or doesn't show up in the top 10 every night on ESPN, but it was a game-changing moment, a game-changing type of play. Make your picks by hitting me up with a text at 715-830-1912. We'll take a quick break, and we'll start to wrap up the second hour coming up after these quick words. Okay, sounds good.
Got a take on today's topic, but can't call in? Then hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or the text line, and let your fingers do the talking.
Hi, I'm Chef Franklin Becker. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
You've got a big day. So you use Unstoppable Scent Boosters to give your laundry non-stop freshness. So no matter how long the day goes, you
can't stop this power, this walk, this pose, this strut, this look, this talk.
Your clothes will be so fresh you can confidently strut into that end of the day meeting like a
bosses. Let's talk business in my office.
Add new Unstoppables beads to your wash for 24-hour non-stop freshness so you can smell unstoppable.
The holidays are here, full of joy, family, friends, and yes, a little hustle and bustle. That's why you need Aleve. Between cooking, shopping, and all those extra errands, aches and pains can sneak in. Aleve is here to help with long-lasting body pain relief. Don't let body pain slow you down. With up to 12 hours of body pain relief per dose, you can keep up with the season's magic and all that awaits. Pick up Aleve and get back to what really matters, making memories. Use as directed.
Sports. You love it. We love it. And quite frankly, I don't trust anyone who doesn't love it. Do you?
Is that a serious question?
The Dan Kasper Show.
All right, wrapping up the second hour. Again, coming to you from Hy-Vee here in Eau Claire for their Veterans Day breakfast. Got a couple hours yet if you are a veteran or you're actively serving. If you haven't made your way out yet, got a couple hours yet. They're serving free breakfast until 10 a.m. here in Eau Claire. So stop by and grab your free breakfast. Again, if you want to give a shout out to a particular veteran or just veterans in general, hit me up with a text. All right, 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, or you can hit us up on the YouTube stream. So it is a Toyson Ford Grind My Gears Tuesday, which we've, of course, had a lot of you, if you're a Packers fan, chiming in with your Grind My Gears Tuesday. So let me see, Rick, loading up your text right now. We've got, oh boy, this is a little bit of a longer text, so bear with me. Okay, so game was lost again by LaFleur. I have zero faith in him in big games. The blown assignments in the O-line and illegal formations is unacceptable. Then the time management blunders again. They need a new coach to take this championship roster over the top. If the Packers had a better head coach, they would have had multiple Super Bowl appearances. I don't know about that, if I'd agree with that. The change needs to happen after the season. The offensive staff is below average. Defensive staff is the elite. Special teams are below average. Got another text coming in here too. Let me try to load that up and such. But continue to send me your texts if you want. Obviously, a lot of you have some thoughts and opinions from last night's game. We all do, right? I mean, we all do here. I was listening again to James Jones, former Packers wide receiver, and I'll ask you this if you agree. But he was kind of making the point that he does not believe, or he doesn't think that this team can win or knows how to win big games. Would you agree with that assessment? Would you agree with that thought from James Jones? That this is a team that does not know how to or can't maybe win big games. Yay or nay? Thumbs up, thumbs down on that. And I think, I mean, you can kind of maybe look at the last few years and such and point to those results. Some of you are going to say yes. He absolutely is right. Some of you are going to say, well, no duh, because what is their biggest game that they've maybe won? Or some of you may go with the, Jordan Love's first year in that second half and kind of talk about that. And like, well, those were some big games and stretch runs there. I mean, you're going to have different thoughts and opinions on that. There, to me, is just, there's definitely something going on with this group, with this offense, that it is clearly evident the quarterback, the coach, not on the same page. Now, I do think a lot of it stems from the offensive line play. Call it some injuries. But the thing is, it's like, that was more of a thing in the first couple weeks of the season. The poor offensive line play, I think, is having a big effect on this team, and maybe it's affecting play calling to an extent. But I think you look at last night's game, too, you could clearly tell Jordan Love was not comfortable. He was not confident behind that offensive line. It wasn't. I mean, you look at some of the plays, you look at some of the missed opportunities, you look at some of the missed throws. Was he just pressing a little bit? Was he, not able to see those open receivers because he didn't trust the offensive line? I always get nervous talking about or criticizing a lot of quarterback play for missing somebody on the field, because we have the advantage of seeing it on TV. We have the advantage of seeing it from a bird's eye view, and it's completely different being on the field, being behind a line of scrimmage, and you've got multiple mammoth human beings trying to hurt you. So I always try to take it with a grain of salt because we're amateur armchair quarterbacks. We can sit there and see these plays developing, and I know some people are going to say, well, that's his job. He is a professional quarterback. He should be doing better. And yeah, he should have done better too last night. Jordan Love did not play a great game last night, but I always do get nervous really over critiquing, well, that quarterback missed this play or he missed that guy, because there's the stuff that we don't, we get the bird's eye view. We get the advantage of that, and we're not behind the line of scrimmage and getting that pressure. But I think it was clearly obvious last night that there was a lot of instances that Jordan Love did not have faith in his offensive line, that he had some happy feet. He rushed some decisions. He missed some opportunities to attack the middle of the field. I think if you look at some of the replays and you look at some of the highlights, there was opportunities in the middle of that field, and he missed it. And yeah, receivers, again, issues with dropping the football. But the other part is, too, I don't want Bo Melton in that situation. I don't want him, and I know injuries had a factor into it, but on a crucial fourth down, and this goes back to the offseason when we talked about that need, that target, that you have to have that go-to guy, that you just okay, we need a play here on fourth down. And I get it. Tucker Kraft, not available. Matthew Golden, not available. I don't want Bo Melton in that situation. I don't want to. But even if he is a former wide receiver moved to corner, he's got to make a play on that ball. He's got to catch that ball. You have to. You have to. What's Tim in the Cooley region? Goody hot seat 1, LaFleur 6. Let's get the offense healthy and see what it can do. Defense is doing its job. Holding Eagles scoreless in the first half should win you the game. The defense stood up against the physicality of the Eagles. And the thing is too with the defense, I think at a certain point in that second half, late in the second half, they were just kind of getting gassed. I think we all knew, okay, you're not going to be able to hold them forever. You're not going to be able to hold them forever. And the turnover on downs, giving a little bit of a short field for the Eagles, they did exactly what you're supposed to do in that situation. A couple big plays, and they get the lone touchdown. I don't fault the defense whatsoever for that game. Sure, there were some third down conversions where you don't want to see your defense give up those situations. Third and long, right? Third and long situations. Keyshawn Nixon overall had a solid game, but then, to give up a big third down completion or third down conversion. So it wasn't 100% perfect, but by golly, it was fantastic. It was a fantastic performance from them overall. Got a couple more messages coming in here. Let me try to reload it before the top of the hour. First of all, Zach on YouTube says O-line needs to play better, clean up the penalties, and receivers need to step up and catch the ball in clutch moments. Let me load this up. We got C-Bomb. What does C-Bomb say here? For my old neighbor Mike. I can't say that, but hey, Chad, we can't blank stop anyone on third down. Love, he's just like. Okay, I can't say that part. This guy just doesn't have it, and I don't think the Packers can keep throwing money at the problem and hope that fixes it. Big Worm has a shout out. Let me load it up here quick. We're taking shout outs for veterans as well. Big time shout out to my buddy Elliot Baker, 21 years of service. Greatest memory in Afghanistan was watching the Packers win the Super Bowl in 2011 with you, Elliot. Shout out to all the vets out there. Play of the game was back-to-back plays, actually. Dobbs dropping that pass, and literally the next play on 4th and long, Melton dropping the ball. That's the other way of taking the game changer. Right? Yeah, we're looking for your game-changing moments, game-changing players presented by our good friends from Hy-Vee, where we're right now at Hy-Vee for the Veterans Day Breakfast. If you are a veteran, active military service member, please stop by, get your free breakfast. Let Hy-Vee serve you. After all these years of service, let Hy-Vee serve you. It's going on right now until 10 a.m. And I know I mentioned a little bit earlier, one of my favorite things about the breakfast is that map, right when you check in and see the map up at the front, and where all the veterans can kind of post where they were stationed or where they served. That's kind of like the wow moment for me, and kind of puts a lot of things in perspective there too. So, all right, shot clock's going to cut me off here in just a little bit. Coming up just past 8 o'clock, we're going to catch up with Mr. Brandon from Hy-Vee, talk a little bit about the breakfast and some other really awesome things that Hy-Vee is doing for the community. We're going to hit that up coming up here in just a little bit. Josh, really quick, says, I'm losing faith in LaFleur fast. Mistake. Huge mistake on the illegal formation. That would have been a 30-yard gain. If dumb me can tell what they're going to do before the play, what do you think professionals can see? Basically, no third down conversions first half. Defense did its job. Offense let them down. Story of the season so far. So, all right, shot clock is cutting me off here in just a little bit. 2 hours in. We got 2 more to go. We'll be back after these news updates. We'll chat with Brandon from Hy-Vee and get back to some more of your texts coming up in just a few minutes.
WAYY Eau Claire, W286CK Eau Claire, Sports Talk 105.1 and 790 AM. From the 715 Newsroom, it's your news done differently with Morgan McCarthy.
Well, good morning. Here's what we're learning today. On this 11/11, an armistice was signed between the Germans and Allies that officially ended World War I, and we celebrate our veterans. Across the country, there will be celebrations locally here as well, and if you're kind of confused about exactly what to do, well, here's a little bit of help.
Coast to coast, there'll be parades and celebrations, both festive and somber, to honor veterans. It's a great day to show American pride, so wear your patriotic clothing and show appreciation. But don't salute. That's reserved for military members past and present, the Secretary of Defense, and the President. Ms. Manor says it's okay to say thank you for your service, but she says make it less generic and more personal. I'm Bree Tennis.
And Veterans Day is a national holiday, though here it's not recognized as a state holiday in Wisconsin. But just know that most post offices and banks will be closed, and federal offices closed today as well. A financial boost comes our way with the Chippewa Valley Health Cooperative receiving a financial lift. The nonprofit is receiving $250,000 in grant money from the Eau Claire Community Foundation, as those funds are intended to help cover the cost of the cooperative's interim healthcare facility, which is sitting at that former St. Joseph's Hospital site. Well, the Wisconsin Department of Revenue is announcing that they have a free and secure electronic filing option for WIS tax that will be available in that 2025 income tax filing season. It will begin in February and have some expanded features as well, specifically for those who claim the veterans or surveying spouse's property credit or need to amend items on their return. You can find some details on this online with a click at 715newsroom.com. And today on this Veterans Day, many restaurants offering discounts around our area. There will be Veterans Day services as well, as we deeply appreciate and sincerely thank those who have served. From our 715newsroom.com, I'm Morgan McCarthy, and now you are up to date and enjoying our Veterans Breakfast at Hy-Vee with Dan Kasper on Sports Talk 105.1.
After a winter-like preview of the last few days, we're finally seeing a shift in our upper-level flow, and that means the return of milder air starting today. Afternoon highs expected to reach the mid-40s. We are going to have intervals of clouds and sunshine, and it is going to remain breezy. Otherwise, tonight, clearing skies, still breezy, a low of 31. Lots of sunshine in the forecast for your Wednesday, breezy, and a high near 50. I'm 13 First Alert meteorologist Derek Dahlman.
Whether it's a kickoff under the lights or a sunrise on the water, Wisconsin lives for the moment. Sports, outdoors, and everything in between. So grab your coffee and turn up the volume, because it's the Dan Kasper Show.
All right, third hour from Hy-Vee, broadcasting DK show from Hy-Vee here in Eau Claire for their Veterans Day breakfast. Got a couple more hours left. Again, if you are a veteran or you are still serving, thank you for your service. Thank you for your continued service. Let Hy-Vee say thank you and serve you. Stop on by for their Veterans Day breakfast. Going on from now until 10 a.m. They got some other stuff throughout the day for veterans too. And to learn a little bit more about that, we've got our guy, Mr. Brandon. I was going to say Brandon Berg. I know too many Brandons here, but Brandon from Hy-Vee, still recovering from the game last night too.
Yeah, that was rough.
It was
rough.
Yeah,
I was just so disappointed at the end.
Yeah, but I was really hoping for a victory Tuesday with the event going on here, but. Thank you.
Nice with your location here at the bar, a little victory Scotch Tuesdays.
Right, that would have been nice. So, but nonetheless, it wasn't in the cards. So, but still a really good event. I mean, so we've been doing the program here for the last few years here for this, and it's so cool to see. Now this is a Hy-Vee wide thing too, right?
Yeah, Hy-Vee's been doing this for 26 years. So wow. I've been with Hy-Vee for 27 years. So
okay.
I've seen every single one, and it grows every year. It's just one of our favorite days of the year. It's so cool to see these guys come in and tell their stories and get to see the map up front. I know you said that's one of your favorite things to see. It's one of mine too. It's the guys get to come up and put their pin in the map and talk about where they've been, and and really get to show our appreciation and just get to serve them breakfast. And they're so thankful of us, but it's cool just to thank them and talk about what they've done for us. So.
Exactly. Yeah, that map is easily like one of my favorite things because that to me is like it almost like puts it in perspective a little bit, just to kind of see where they were at and what they did in that. So, I mean, it's going on until 10 o'clock this morning, right?
Yeah, so breakfast goes on until 10 o'clock, and then we've got 15% off all day long on any grocery for veterans. So they can shop throughout the whole store and get 15% off on anything. So we've got our ham and turkey deal going on. If you buy ham, get a turkey free.
Right.
You get 15% off that. Any of your bakery items, produce items, anything throughout the store, get 15% off all day long.
Yeah. So, I mean, Hy-Vee, you talk about community, I would say like community first when it comes to Hy-Vee. And not only just because of this, but what you guys started to do last week and continuing to with the meals for kiddos and such. And I was talking with Phil a little bit earlier, and he was talking about how busy it was last week with it. And tell us a little bit about that, and again, I think this is just another fantastic example of where Hy-Vee is so involved in helping out the community.
Absolutely. It's really kind of a cool part of our company that makes me proud, right? So last month we kind of saw, we were at a directors meeting, and we saw that this might be coming, right, with the government shutdown and the things that are going on, the SNAP benefits that might lapse or whatever. And we talked about it at our meeting and said, we've got to do something. What can we do? And one of the directors stood up and said, let's provide meals and at least help feed families in our communities. And it was like, yeah, great idea. Let's do it. And rolled out company-wide and said, let's feed kids for free, maybe find the cheapest meal we can find and get it out there to adults.
Yeah.
So we came up with the $3 meals. Last week we were feeding 700, 800 people every single night. And this week we rolled it out again, did breakfast over the weekend, and rolled it out again this whole week too.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, and it's like pulled pork, it was orange chicken. I mean, it's like
good hot meals.
Exactly.
Those comfort foods.
Yeah.
So we had like spaghetti one night. We had sloppy joe. Sloppy joe's coming up this week. We have Chinese. Chinese was a huge night. We had it's all the way back to the seafood department that night. So everybody loves our Chinese food.
Oh, it's the best. I mean, my wife and I, it's like we come here for a quick meal. You know, if it's like grocery shopping on the weekend, what we're gonna do for lunch, we'll go over. First of all, Hudson's got to see if there's chicken strips and fries in the hot bar. Then we'll go over there and such too. I mean, you guys always are adjusting. It feels like too, and adding some new stuff with easy to take home meals and that too.
Absolutely, our mealtime case up there, that's been a huge hit for us. We had to make extra space for pizzas and all the pasta meals up there, like the seafood and the meat department items that are up there. Those have been huge, especially as it gets colder and people just want a quick, easy meal to take and put in their oven. And all the stuff that's going on right now with basketball starting up and all the different sports going on. Yes. It's hard. I got 3 kids at home. We're running all over the place. So it's hard to have a family meal if you can't do something quick and easy. So
exactly.
That's the goal.
Now, are you guys still doing with the bags in the entry where you can for is it $10, $15?
Yeah, there's $5 bags and $10 bags. So last week I think we had a little over $1,000 donated by customers, and then we matched that and donate those to. We took some to the high schools. Each have food pantries, so we filled up those food pantries, and then we donate to a community table, and then we take extra to Feed My People, donate to the food pantries. We also have a roundup at the register going on. We usually do in November, it's usually for honor flight, so we send veterans to Washington, D.C. every year. We kind of pulled that back, and we're doing a separate donation to that, but with the things going on, we wanted to make sure our local food pantries were filled, so we're doing the roundup towards the local food pantries.
That's awesome too. So, and then we're actually going to be back here next Friday because it's already going to be opener, but it's also Thanksgiving's going to be around the corner here too. So we're going to be taking some donations, maybe to get some turkeys into some people's hands too.
Absolutely. Thanksgiving's right around the corner, and deer opener.
Yeah.
So we'll be handing out beef jerky and beef sticks, all those protein you need when you're out in the woods.
Not to throw you out, but I mean, last year you kind of missed out on a big buck. I remember you thought, you got a little itch to go again this year to avenge yourself.
I was just talking to my neighbor, and we have a nice spot out behind my house where we go, and I had a nice shot at a buck and missed it last year. So I'm telling you, I hadn't been hunting in like 20 years. It was my first time out. I got so excited and missed it, and so this year it's going to be the year. So
well, with Thanksgiving too, I mean, we got the flyer at home too with for meal planning for holidays and such too. Or is Hy-Vee with I mean, you got to start thinking about that with Thanksgiving and right around Christmas too.
So Thanksgiving meal packs. We've got the setup kind of back by our meat department where you can order your meal packs, make it easy for Thanksgiving. Then with Christmas coming up, we got some cool events for Christmas too. So we have our kids club rolling on December 14th. So if you bring the kids in, we're gonna have live reindeer out in front of the store. So
really,
that's not deer opener. So
right.
We'll keep those separate. So
put the blaze orange away.
So there'll be live reindeer. Santa Claus will be here in the store. So that's December 14th. So put that on the calendar. That's a really exciting event. So we haven't even announced that yet. So your show's here's the first to know. So
December 14th.
That'll be fun. I'm super excited for that one.
Yeah,
so
that is gonna be really cool.
So Santa and his reindeer. So
I know, in years past too, the Grinch has made a couple appearances coming over here
Santa
too.
And the Grinch will be here. I think there's the weekend before that and the weekend after that.
That's always a popular one too. Seeing all the kids lined up for that is really cool.
Yeah, that kids club is going to be huge. We get 300 kids in on those weekends and different stations set up throughout the store with all kinds of stuff going on. They have a lot of fun. It was cool. So Saturday we had kids come in and make cards for all the veterans.
Yep.
Setting them around the store here. I was talking to a veteran. One of the first guys that showed up this morning just walked around and looked at all those cards and was like picking them up and reading them. And it was just like one of those moments, right? Like I'm not usually a guy that cries or anything like that, but it was kind of one of those like tearjerker moments.
Yeah.
Just like thinking about what he might be thinking, like these kids showing appreciation, and
exactly.
It's just one of those cool moments that every year it's one of those kind of things.
Well said. So, because we have a lot of parents, maybe tell a little bit about Kids Club. If we got listeners that say, how can my kid get involved in
Absolutely.
Kids
So
Club?
there's signs around the store. It's easy to sign up with a QR code, or you can stop at customer service and they can help you sign up too. Sign up for that Kids Club, and then every time you shop, you get free items throughout the store. So there's a free piece of fruit at the produce department. You can stop by the food service area, the pay station. They'll give you a free little cup of Oreo fluff for the kids. It's not very healthy, but if you want the kids to sugar up a little bit, they got that there. A free cookie in the bakery. The meat department, we couldn't throw a brat at the kid or something like that, so they give a coloring page over at the meat department. In the deli, they give a free slice of cheese. The pharmacy, they couldn't really give anything there either, so I think they give a sticker to the kids.
Nice.
And then up at the front, they've got suckers that they're handing out to the kids. So it keeps the kids entertained, makes that shopping experience more fun for the kids. And
absolutely.
We all know it's hard to shop with kids, right? I came with my 3 kids without my wife, and that was a mistake. So they were running around like crazy, and they feel like they own the place. So it was tough, but when they got those fun things to do, it makes it more fun for them.
Exactly. So, with that too, I know we were talking a little bit with the Packers and such. A little bit down, but team shop, Christmas shopping coming up here. I mean, you can get gift cards. My wife's already eyeing one of those Packer white vests. I think I might have to get her. She's not listening right now, so I might have to get her. But I mean, you got some new items over there too. But I mean, you can start to do your Christmas shopping all around.
Absolutely, the team shop. We got new gear over there. Tress is always bringing in new stuff over here. We got the different bourbons, all that kind of stuff, and the whole setup. The GM team's been working really hard to get all their gifting stuff. So there's housewares and appliances and toys. We got a whole bunch of brand new set of toys. So again, for the kids, there's all kinds of stuff. So you can go throughout the store and find anything you want for under the tree or anything that helps make those holidays easier. So,
right.
So we've got it all kind of a one-stop shop for hosting an event or for buying for the families. So.
Right, exactly. Well, Brandon, thank you so much. Thank you to Hy-Vee for everything you do for the community, for today's event and such. So I know I speak for a lot of people saying thank you for this, and it's always a fantastic year. And we'll be back next Friday already, too.
Yeah,
so.
Thank you to the vets, and thank you for coming in and doing this, Dan. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll get back to some of your texts talking about the green and gold from last night. A lot more to get to here. So we'll take that quick break and be back in just a couple minutes.
Thank you, sir. Nice.
You're listening to The Dan Kasper Show.
We were walking through this farmer's market on a Saturday morning.
Every story starts out differently.
I stopped to smell the sunflowers at one stand, and when I turned back, I saw him kneeling down right there between the baskets of apples and jars of honey.
Every story special.
We were at home watching the same movie we saw together on our very first date. Then the picture changed to a slide
moments of love and loving moments of engagement. And while the stories are...
He took me skating.
You asked her with Alaska.
I was nervous on the ice, but he kept holding my hands, and he pulled off his mitten and pulled out a little box from his coat.
They always end the same.
And the ring was perfect for me.
In Eau Claire and online at Laskers.com. Laskers. Start your love story here.
The holidays are here, full of joy, family, friends, and yes, a little hustle and bustle. That's why you need Aleve. Between cooking, shopping, and all those extra errands, aches and pains can sneak in. Aleve is here to help with long-lasting body pain relief. Don't let body pain slow you down. With up to 12 hours of body pain relief per dose, you can keep up with the season's magic and all that awaits. Pick up Aleve and get back to what really matters, making memories. Use as directed.
Hi, I'm Chef Franklin Becker. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
Some investments grow in value. Others change your life. Ashcroft & Oak has been your local jeweler, trusted over 115 years. For now and forever.com. Ashcroft & Oak. For now and forever.
Thanks for listening. And thanks for checking out our live stream on YouTube and Facebook. And thanks for not mentioning that spot on Dan. I guess that's why he never wears white. You can't handle the truth. The Dan Kasper Show.
Thank you.
Penalty.
Yeah.
How do you cover up eligible lights? Somebody's got it.
All right, we are back here from Hy-Vee in Eau Claire doing our, well, thanks, man. Got about an hour and 40 minutes yet. If you are a veteran, actively serving, have served, come by Hy-Vee in Eau Claire, get your free breakfast. Big thanks again to Brandon from Hy-Vee for doing that. Or for joining me, excuse me, and talking a little bit about what Hy-Vee, has been doing right now for our local community, specifically, helping out with free meals and such. So, but we appreciate our friendship and partnership with Hy-Vee so much, and a thank you to all the veterans out there. If you want to give a shout out to a veteran, hit me up with a text 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. Hit me up, give you a specific shout out, or if you just want to make a general one, you can send that on over too. All right, 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. All right, we got Timmy here with a quick text. Let me load. Holy moly, Timmy! Here we go. There are multiple things at play here. Like it or not, LaFleur has probably topped out as a coach. There has been no development and or advancement of this team in years. It's the same old messages. Got to clean things up. Got to coach better. Got to play better, and it never materializes. Love. It's almost time to grow the heck up as a quarterback. Almost 6 years, the system 2.5 as a starter, and the progress has not matched the tenure. I can't remember the last time he had a receiver in stride more than 20 yards down the field or the receiver open. Either he doesn't trust his arm or he doesn't have the arm. Not to mention the absolutely ridiculous turnovers. Not that there are a lot of them, but the ones that are happening are just asinine. Goody, he's probably sick, but he painted himself in the corner with Love, who apparently overachieved in year one as a starter, which forced Green Bay to give him such an overloaded contract when compared to Love's talent level. Not overly athletic, suspect arm talent, and questionable decision making. $55 million a year should get you more than a Trevor Lawrence doppelganger when it comes to football talent. All right. Timmy breaking it all down. Timmy, that might be one of your longest texts I think you've ever said. Maybe that's the frustration. We had another Timmy stop by. Our good friend Tim A. say penalties from last night. Ineligible receivers, covering up ineligible receivers. I mean, you look at a bunch of different things, and yeah, boatload of different things. Just all over the place. The frustration is real. I mean, there's some fans that have chimed in, willing to be patient, willing to kind of give, the benefit of the doubt here. But I'm probably on the side with the majority of you. Like, the frustration is real for me. It's just, we could point to a lot of different things. And I don't know, did we have super high expectations? Super ridiculously high expectations where that every little thing that's going wrong is we're pinpointing that? I don't know, maybe, but what's wrong with having super high expectations with this ball club? What's wrong with having that was the expectation, right? I mean, when you make a move like you do before the season starts to acquire Micah flippin' Parsons, and you trade 2 first-round picks, you essentially mortgage your future a little bit, or your immediate future for that. The expectations are there. You put pressure. I mean, okay, so Goody goes and makes that move. You're instantly putting pressure on your coaching staff, your team, your players to perform at that high level. And right now, they're not. And I agree with what James Jones said. Rick, not to ignore your text that you sent a little bit or a little bit earlier, but James Jones, I brought up the comments where he said Green Bay they're a team that doesn't know how to win right now. They're a team that doesn't know how to win right now. And I agree with him. I agree. I completely agree with him. This is a team that, for whatever reason, can't win the big ones. Doesn't know how to win the big ones. As Rick said a little bit earlier, Jones is 100% correct. Look at the collapse in the NFC Championship game alone. Dan spot on about the O-line. The O-line position coaches on the offensive side are not great teachers, and they can't develop the players. The second point is this: Green Bay cross-trains their linemen. Philly linemen are spot-specific. Jason Kelsey has said it is why they're so consistent. That's an interesting point, and thanks for sending that on over, Rick. Yeah, we know Green Bay, when it comes to their offensive linemen, they like the versatility. They like offensive linemen that can play multiple spots. Is that a point where, in some instances it's really good because it benefits when there's an injury. Okay, you got a guy that's cross-trained there, you can plug him in over there. But is the negative aspect of it where they're not so super focused on the one position that, all right, they can't maybe develop or continue to grow at that spot, you know what I mean? And I think that's just kind of an organizational coaching mindset when it comes to their offensive line. They like versatility to be able to plug in guys, but does that come at a cost? Another Dan here with a quick text saying, let me try to get this loaded up here. If it wants to load up here. But Dan had a comment about the offensive line as well. So, and then David, I'll get to your text here after it loads up a little bit. But that's an interesting. I mean, to kind of go back to what Rick said too, with Jason Kelsey, I kind of take Jason Kelsey's opinion when it comes to an offensive line. I kind of listen to it, right? I mean, it's a guy who's played it at a high level. He's probably going to be a Hall of Famer. Does he have a valid point with that? Dan says that O-line folds easier than a cheap tent. Was McManus aiming for the corner? You see the practice kick and he went, it would be to his right, so was he overcompensating a little bit? 64-yarder, I mean, where was the confidence level that he was actually going to hit it anyways? You know? Yeah, so it is what it is. I don't know. 5-3-1. 5-3-1, 9 games into this season. Where's your vibe on this team as we are heading into the second half of the season? You know, earlier I asked for a vibe check too on how warm, how hot do you think this, or how hot or how warm do you think Matt LaFleur's seat should be? Let me know. 1 through 10. 10 being scorching hot. 1, he's cool. It's good. Nothing to see here. Do you agree with what maybe? Do you agree with what Matt Schneider, who covers the Packers from The Athletic, when he said Matt LaFleur is coaching for his job for the rest of the season? Do you agree with that? Let's maybe make that the question at hand here. Forget the vibe check of 1 through 10. Do you agree with what Matt Schneider said, saying that Matt LaFleur is coaching for a job for the rest of the season? And if you do agree with that, what would have to happen? What's the bare minimum? And this is mostly directed at the fans who want to see LaFleur gone. What would the bare minimum have to be for Matt LaFleur to keep his job? For those who want him gone, what would have to is maybe you have high expectations of it's got to be a Super Bowl. Maybe it's got to be a playoff win. But what are the bare minimum, or that bare minimum for him to continue as head coach, if in fact he is coaching for his job for these last 8 games or so? Let me know. Where are you at? I got some more thoughts on this. I got to take a quick break here. But continue to send me those texts. 715-830-1912. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back.
The Dan Kasper Show will be right back.
Right here for Kai's Chevy Town. Short drive from anywhere. Our side right out at exit 41, Interstate 94. You can check their inventory online. It's updated daily at ChevyTownUSA.com. Or of course, stop in and see them. Hit them with any questions that you might have. That's what I did a little bit over a year ago when my trusty car of 20 years finally went and it was time for an upgrade. They helped me out in the process. It was so easy. Everyone was so kind and thoughtful and considerate of, well, I think we should do it this way. I think we should set it up this way. This way is going to benefit you the most. I can't recommend them enough. And that's how they've been treating people for 3 generations. Maybe you've been thinking of upgrading to an SUV or a truck, something a little bit more appropriate for winter weather. Now would be the perfect time. Or maybe you're happy with your vehicle, and the folks at Kai's understand that. They want you to be comfortable in your vehicle and make sure it's in tip-top shape to get you from home to work to school to get the family around. So schedule service with their award-winning service department today. Again, the website, ChevyTownUSA.com. Stop in or give them a call anytime. Be wise. See Kai's for the best buys.
Looking for a great spot to eat, relax, and have some fun? Well, the VFW Post 305 in Eau Claire has you covered. From delicious food and refreshing drinks to live bands and fun events, there's always something happening at the VFW Post 305. And don't forget about the view. Sit on their back patio and enjoy that beautiful fall view of the river while you dine or listen to some live music. VFW Post 305, great food, great music, and a view that can't be beat. Stop by today at 1300 Star Avenue in Eau Claire and see what's going on today.
The holidays are here, full of joy, family, friends, and yes, a little hustle and bustle. That's why you need a leave. Between cooking, shopping, and all those extra errands, aches and pains can sneak in. Aleve is here to help with long-lasting body pain relief. Don't let body pain slow you down. With up to 12 hours of body pain relief per dose, you can keep up with the season's magic and all that awaits. Pick up Aleve and get back to what really matters, making memories. Use as directed.
It's a classic odor tale. You've had fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Hi, I'm Chef Franklin Becker. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
Broadcasting live from the TES Sports Talk 105.1 studios, it's the Dan Kasper Show.
All right, we are back at Hy-Vee, broadcasting live for Hy-Vee's Veterans Day Breakfast. Again, if you are a veteran, active military member, stop on by. Going on right now till 10 a.m. Get your free breakfast and a big thank you for your service. For whether you have served or you continue to serve, a big thank you for that. But breakfast is going on till 10 a.m. here at Hy-Vee. So if you're just kind of getting going here this morning, still got some time to come on down and grab yourself some breakfast. I know our good friends at VFW Post 305, they're doing some events too. We're going to be I'll be heading over to VFW Post 305 after we're done with the program and hanging out with our good friends over there too. So, but for Hy-Vee, for their breakfast going on until 10 a.m. 10 a.m. So stop on by. We've been talking obviously a lot of Packers from last night's performance, last night's game. What would have to happen if you are on the fire Matt LaFleur train, whatever you want to call it, wagon, whatever. If you're on that, what would have to happen for Matt LaFleur to keep his job past this year? What do you think is the bare minimum? What do you think the bare minimum is? Okay, I'm kind of directing this question at a lot of fans who want to see LaFleur gone. What would have to happen for the rest of this year? So, like Matt Schneider, who covers the Packers for the Athletic, posted, after the game last night, that Matt LaFleur's coaching for his job. That he's coaching for his job right now. So, if that's the case, what would have to happen for him to keep his job, in your opinion? Is it winning a playoff game? Is it winning a couple playoff games? Is it going to the Super Bowl? What's that bare minimum have to be for you? Let me know. Hit me up with a text, 715-833-9797. 715-830-1912. 715-830-1912. Okay. I want to hear from you. Put you on the spot a little bit. I'm not there yet. I don't, but I will say when it comes to LaFleur's, job status and such, I'm probably at a 6. 1 through 10, if we did a little bit of a vibe check, I'm probably at a 6. We can go through the laundry list, and a lot of you have done that. We've done it at various levels too. We have done, you could blame the offensive line. You could blame the quarterback. You could blame the drops, and they're all factors. There's no question about it. But sometimes when you have repeat stuff, when you have things that are just constantly, the same stuff that just keeps popping its ugly head, game after game, year after year, where does the accountability lie after that? Doesn't the accountability have to lie at the coach, position coaches? Where does it have to go? And is that Matt LaFleur? Is that the coordinators? Is it just straight up the players? Where do you put, if you are again a fan that has frustrations with this team, where do you put most of the blame on? Is it the quarterback? Is it the head coach? Is it the offensive line? When we know the truth is, it's probably a little bit of a mixture of all. Let's not kid ourselves. It's probably a mixture of everything. But when it comes down to it, who's probably going to be the one that takes the blame or takes the fault if this kind of continues down this path? It's going to be the head coach. It's going to be Matt LaFleur. The wild card in this whole thing is Ed Policy, the new president, new man in charge for Green Bay. That's the wild card in this whole thing. We don't know how or what he's thinking right now. I think everybody, Packers fans specifically, would love to know what he's thinking about with his team, with what he is seeing. This is a guy who has been a football lifer. I mean, his dad, with what he did with the 49ers back in their glory years. He's now the man in charge in Green Bay that has Super Bowl aspirations, Super Bowl expectations. But we don't have anything to kind of go back on, to look at, and kind of get engaged. Like if this was Mark Murphy still in charge, I think we'd probably say, LaFleur is probably going to be safe. He's going to be fine. But we don't know with Ed Policy, with what he's thinking, with what's going through his mind right now when he's watching these games. You go back, to the summer, and the headline was, he's not going to offer contract extensions to Goody or LaFleur, which is like, oh, okay, kind of a prove it year. Same breath, he said he's not a believer in lame duck statuses. So what does that tell me? Okay, and lame duck says he's not a believer in, having a coach with just 1 year left on his deal. He's not a believer in that. He does not want that to happen. So, on one hand, he's not given an extension when LaFleur and Goody have 2 years left on their deals. And on the other, he's not a believer in somebody just coaching with 1 year left on their deal. That tells me that this is a prove-it year for both LaFleur and Goody. So given what you have seen so far, if you are Ed Policy, would you give LaFleur another contract extension, or is it, one of those 1 year extension sort of things that really don't mean a whole lot in a grand scheme of things? We don't know what's going through Ed Policy's mind. We don't know the thought process behind it right now. And that's the wild card in this whole situation. And there's not going to be a decision made during this season. That one I would be completely shocked at. And I'd be surprised, and I don't even think I would be in favor of that. But come this season, depending on the outcome of the rest of this season, playoff success, lack thereof, playoff success, this is a big decision for Ed Policy. And this is why a lot of us, I know I could never do it, taking the fanism out of it, taking the emotions out of it, because, you know, as Policy said too, he's got a personal relationship with LaFleur. And he's got a personal relationship with Goody. But with him being the president and with him being the main man in charge, he's got to put those relationships to the side and those personal feelings to the side and do what he feels like is best for this franchise going forward. And if he feels like it's going to be bringing in a different voice as a coach, it's a risk either way. It's a risk whether he decides to maybe re-up LaFleur, continue down the same path. It's a risk to move on. It's easy for us fans maybe to sit here and say, give the job to Jeff Hafley, but we don't know if Jeff Hafley would develop into a good head coach. We can see what he's been doing on the defensive side, but again, how many times have we seen coaches that are better coordinators than they are head coaches? What helps Hafley in this instance is he does have a little bit of head coaching experience at the college level with Boston College. But that's the unknown in this aspect. Is Ed Policy. What is he thinking right now? What's going through his mind as he's watching this team? And I think, you know, what's probably confusing for a lot of Packers fans at this point in time is you see the first 2 weeks of the season. You see them open up the season with a win against the Lions. Short week, a win against Washington. And you have a lot of fans wondering, where's that team? Where's that team at? Where's that second half team that put the beat down on Pittsburgh? And I think you look at the first 2 weeks of the season, you feel like now that was a team that was riding the waves of emotions, the Micah Parsons trade happening the week prior, all the energy, all the enthusiasm, and they were riding that high. They were on that honeymoon. Honeymoon's over with. You know, obviously you get a big influx of energy and enthusiasm when you bring a player of the caliber of Micah Parsons on your team. It sends a message to your team. It sends a message inside that locker room that the front office believes you have a team that can win it all, and kind of setting that expectation by making a move like that. That instantly would get anybody on that team pumped up or excited. It got the fan base pumped up and excited. And they fed off that, being at home. Maybe got a little bit too high. Did it cloud, you know, going back to the Rodgers era a little bit, you heard a theme a lot with Rodgers and McCarthy. Did the play of Rodgers at times kind of cloud or hide some of the issues that were going on in the team? You know, you remember hearing that phrase quite a bit. And I'm not saying that's where we're at right now, but you can look at those first 2 weeks of the season, and I just look at that was a team that was so energized. Coming off that Micah trade, within a week, and a quick turnaround against Washington, jumping up to that 2-0 lead to open up the season 2-0, and you get 2-0 in conference play. And you follow it up with that loss to Cleveland, and you know it's like, oh, okay, maybe we got our heads up a little too high in the sky, and you know it was a humbling loss, but really haven't gotten back to that same type of energy for whatever reason. Defense has been playing well. You pinpoint it all to the offense. And obviously with the head coach being the offensive play caller, it's going to put more pressure. It's going to put more of the spotlight on LaFleur's job status. And what doesn't help for LaFleur's case either is you've got a guy in Hafley that is going to get head coaching interviews. He got one last year with the Jets. He's on the short list probably for a lot of teams. So you're going to have more of that talk from the fans, from the media, about his job status because there is a coordinator on his staff that's probably going to get some head coaching interviews. And that's where you're probably going to hear some fans that maybe want to see a move made now to give Hafley a shot. I don't know if that would be the case, but again, I don't feel like a move will be made right now in the season. I don't. I don't see that happening. We got Dave from Cadott. Let me load up your text here, Dave from Cadott. It's going to take a second here for it to load, but Dave's going to chime in here on LaFleur's job status for this. But hit me up with what if you are on the side that LaFleur's got to do something, or LaFleur's job is hot. His seat is hot right now. In your opinion, if you're a believer now, what do you think he has got to do to keep his job? David says for LaFleur to keep his job, the Pack need to make the playoffs. If we lose somewhere in the playoffs, it can't be of poor coaching decisions. If we get outplayed, we get outplayed. But if he continues down this path of predictable play calls, poor play calling, poor clock management, and poor decision making, especially in the playoffs, then he has to go. David cannot. A lot of you have talked about the time management and such, and boy, you look at these last couple games and maybe even this year with some of the decisions he has made. I think a lot of you are hitting on some points with that. I mean, the 4th and 1 call from last night at the end of the game, I was racking my brain. I'm like, okay, the hurry up to get up there 4th and 1. Was that a LaFleur? Was that a Jordan Love call? Was it an RPO? Whatever the case may be. That thing just really kind of it boggled my mind a little bit, trying to figure out who called that. It had to be LaFleur. It had to be LaFleur making that call to Jordan Love. And at that point, I would rather have him just take a timeout, take a step back, take a breather, and let's figure out the best play for this. Because if that's what you called in that situation, 4th and 1, can you imagine if that was in a playoff game? Are you doing the same thing in a playoff game with that decision? And I don't know what the issue is with some of that, with that decision making, and maybe that's where, okay, he does need to give up play calling. Maybe he is just overloaded. Maybe he's got too much going on. Maybe he's one of those guys that can't handle. Is he making too many decisions from an emotional side of things? I don't know. There's a lot of factors at play, though. All right, we got to take a quick break here. Continue to send me your text, though, all right? I want to hear from you. We got some good combos going on here, some good comments and such. So hit me up with the text, 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line this morning. Or you can hit us up on the YouTube video stream. All right. We'll take a quick break. We're running a little behind here, so we got to catch up on some breaks here. We'll do that. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Got a take on today's topic, but can't call in? Then hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or the text line, and let your fingers do the talking.
All right, be honest. When's the last time you looked down at your floors and thought, Yep, these have seen better days. Well, with the holidays coming up and family, friends, and maybe even the in-laws about to walk through that door, it might be time for a flooring upgrade. They've got everything: carpet, luxury vinyl planks, tile, laminate, you name it. The selection's awesome, and so is the team. They actually make shopping for floors kind of fun. If you're not sure what style or color would look the best in your space, the team at Carpet City Flooring Center can help you figure that out. And here's the kicker: they'll match or beat the competition's prices. So you can stop scrolling deals online at midnight and just head to Carpet City Flooring Center instead. Get those floors ready for the holidays and impress everyone, or at least distract Uncle Bob from the overcooked turkey. Get started today by visiting the fine folks at Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire at 3109 East Hamilton Avenue in Eau Claire. Carpet City Flooring Center, where their prices will floor you.
Black Friday is happening now at the Home Depot, which means it's time to get your home ready for all your holiday moments and traditions. Right now, you can bring home holiday magic with our wide assortment of dazzling pre-lit trees under $99. Spend more time creating memories and less time assembling with quick connect technology that makes it easy to set up your new tree in a few clicks. Hurry in, Black Friday happening now at the Home Depot.
Every morning, we rise and shine, make breakfast, and brush away the night's rest. These routines help us start the day off right. Nature Made vitamins are a simple step in that daily care regimen. Multivitamins with daily essentials, clinically studied probiotics for gut health support, magnesium to help relax the body. Nature Made is made to care for you every day. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Hi, I'm Chef Franklin Becker. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
Some investments grow in value. Others change your life. Ashcroft & Oak has been your local jeweler. Trusted over 115 years. For now and forever.com. Ashcroft & Oak. For now and forever.
It's like watching your team blow a fourth quarter lead, but way more fun. The Dan Kasper Show. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10.
Usually on Tuesdays we catch up with Mr. RJ Cardinal for some Badger chats. Since we're here at Hy-Vee, we're going to catch up with RJ tomorrow. So in case you're wondering, hey, where's RJ at this morning? We got some football to talk about with the Badgers actually picking up a win. RJ is going to be joining us tomorrow. So we'll get to RJ tomorrow. Plus, we'll be able to talk about the Badger basketball game tonight as the 2-0 Badger basketball team going to be taking on the 2-0 Ball State. So Badgers with RJ coming at you tomorrow. Bucks also picking up a win last night. At least one Wisconsin sports team won last night thanks to a come-from-behind victory against the Dallas Mavericks. Giannis leading the way again for the Bucks as he dropped over 30 points again. But Kyle Kuzma, another solid performance from Kyle Kuzma coming off the bench for the Bucks here. So Giannis, 37 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, going up against his former coach Jason Kidd and the Dallas Mavericks. But Kuzma, 32 minutes of action, 26 points for him, 5 rebounds for Kyle Kuzma. And you look at, we touched on him a little bit yesterday with his play. That guy's maybe he's finally found a role that best suits him for this particular team. But so far this year, 13.8 points per game, 4.3 rebounds, And I know it's still going to be, well, he's getting paid a ton of money, and those are the numbers that he's putting up. It's still not worth it. If he continues down this path, and he continues with the style of play he's doing right now, those numbers will get up there. But he was my pick for our Hy-Vee game changer for today, stealing the inbounds pass at the end of the game, going the other way for the dunk and such. So solid game from Kyle Kuzma last night. So Bucks improving to 7-4 on the season. They're going to be back at it tomorrow, taking on the Charlotte Hornets. So right now, Bucks, if you're kind of looking at the standings, 5th in Eastern Conference standings at this point. So, but one other Bucks note here: Torian Prince is going to be out for a while. He's got a neck injury with herniated disc, I believe it is, but he's going to be missing some time, quite a bit of time, it sounds like, too. Yeah, herniated disc in his neck. So potentially, and this was a guy, too, who was shooting over 40%, a little over 41% from the three, and you just kind of wonder with some of their depth in that, is that going to be something that maybe the Bucks are going to try to acquire, maybe get a little bit more length on the bench, maybe a little bit more outside shooting, but it's definitely a loss when you look at it from a depth perspective. And honestly, I don't know how much the Bucks could do in terms of free agency or trying to replace him in that, but I would imagine if he's going to be missing quite a bit of time here, maybe the Bucks try to find something to replace it, but we haven't seen him since the 4th in that. And you look at the stat sheets, you do a little box score scouting with him, you're probably not too impressed. I mean, 8 points, 10 points, 3 points, 6 points, but he's been logging some serious minutes coming off the bench for the Bucks. And I think if you've been just paying attention and following what he's been able to contribute and such, it takes away a main player coming off the bench, part of their rotation. So I don't see the Bucks right now making a significant move or a move when it comes to free agency and trying to fill his space. It just might be next man up at this point in time when it comes to the Bucks, just because their lack of space and what they're able to do in that. So, but again, Bucks with a nice comfort behind wing last night against the Mavericks. And I know it's early on, but you don't want to drop back-to-back games, especially against the Mavericks team that's off to a slow start this season. So nice to get that win on the road for Milwaukee, especially in a back-to-back too. So tonight we've got the Badger Hoops team going to be in action, taking on Ball State. Both teams coming in at 2-0. Wisconsin still ranked 24th in the country, top 25 in the country still. Going to be at the Kohl Center here tonight too. So these early season games, obviously opponents don't know a whole lot about them, right? But you look at Ball State, I mean, Wisconsin win probability is at a 98% for Wisconsin. Wisconsin a clear favorite in this game, but we've seen weirder things when it comes to college basketball and such. But you look at the first two games with Wisconsin. The first game it was John Blackwell, then it was Boyd. In the second game, you kind of wonder, all right, who's going to be maybe the third guy? Whose game is it going to be tonight? Is it going to be Nolan Winter? Is it going to be one of their guards again? I don't know, but you look at Ball State. You got Ziegler, who's averaging 16.5 points per game. They've got 4 guys averaging double-figure scoring. Ziegler's at 16.5. Hill at 16. Hill's also their leading rebounder and assists getter. 7 rebounds, 4 assists. Denson averaging 12 points per game, and James averaging 10 points per game. So you look at Ziegler and Hill, both guards. Boyd, Blackwell, that should be where the matchup is at for tonight's game. All right. We got 1 more hour to go. 1 more hour to go. Shot clock kicking off right now, or will be. Internet's lagging a little bit behind here. So, all right, final hour coming up from Hy-Vee after these upcoming news updates.
KYY Eau Claire, W286CK Eau Claire, Sports Talk 105.1 and 790 AM. From the 715 Newsroom, it's your news done different with Morgan McCarthy.
Well, good morning. Here's what we're learning today. On this 11/11, an armistice was signed between the Germans and Allies that officially ended World War I, and we celebrate our veterans. Across the country, there will be celebrations locally here as well, and if you're kind of confused about exactly what to do, well, here's a little bit of help.
Coast to coast, there'll be parades and celebrations, both festive and somber, to honor veterans. It's a great day to show American pride, so wear your patriotic clothing and show appreciation. But don't salute. That's reserved for military members past and present, the Secretary of Defense, and the President. Ms. Manners says it's okay to say thank you for your service, but she says make it less generic and more personal. I'm Bree Tennis.
And Veterans Day is a national holiday, though here it's not recognized as a state holiday in Wisconsin. But just know that most post offices and banks will be closed, and federal offices closed today as well. A financial boost comes our way with the Chippewa Valley Health Cooperative receiving a financial lift. The nonprofit is receiving $250,000 in grant money from the Eau Claire Community Foundation, as those funds are intended to help cover the cost of the cooperative's interim healthcare facility, which is sitting at that former St. Joseph's Hospital site. The Wisconsin Department of Revenue is announcing that they have a free and secure electronic filing option for WIS tax that will be available in that 2025 income tax filing season. It will begin in February and have some expanded features as well, specifically for those who claim the veterans or surveying spouse's property credit or need to amend items on their return. You can find some details on this online with a click at 715newsroom.com. And today on this Veterans Day, many restaurants offering discounts in around our area. There will be Veterans Day services as well, as we deeply appreciate and sincerely thank those who have served. From our 715newsroom.com, I'm Morgan McCarthy, and now you are up to date and enjoying our Veterans Breakfast at Hy-Vee with Dan Kasper on Sports Talk 105.1.
Intervals of clouds and sunshine take us through our Veterans Day as we can. Low of 31, and then for tomorrow, lots of sunshine. Warmer at around 50. We'll be at around 52 on Thursday, a blend of sun and clouds. On 13th alert, meteorologist Derek Dahlman.
Warning, the following hour may cause uncontrollable laughter, bold sports takes, and the sudden urge to yell at your radio. You've officially entered happy hour on the Dan Kasper Show, where stats are optional, opinions are strong, and Dan might be running on caffeine or something stronger. It's the final hour. Loosen the tie, unbuckle the brain, and let's get weird.
Final hour kicking off right now from Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. A big thanks for hanging out with us here this morning. And a big thanks to all of the veterans and current active military service members. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Probably can't say thank you enough, but we appreciate you. I put in the wrong mic. How about that?
There we go. I plugged in the wrong mic, so I apologize for that. We are into the final hour here this morning at Hy-Vee here in Eau Claire. Appreciate you tuning in, making us part of your start, or if you're already up and at it, if you've been hanging out all morning with us, we appreciate that. We appreciate all of you veterans who have served, and to those of you who continue to serve, thank you, thank you, thank you, not only for today, but thank you for every day. For every day. We got 1 hour left here at Hy-Vee for their breakfast, so if you are a veteran or you have you are currently serving or you have served, please stop by, get yourself a free amazing breakfast from our friends here at Hy-Vee, going on until 10 a.m. here this morning. So continue to hit me up with your thoughts on the green and gold. Obviously that has been a big topic of conversation here this morning after last night's game. You can hit me up with a text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. or you can chime in on the YouTube video stream. That also works out over there too. Kind of a question I'm throwing out there. So we're using Matt Schneidman, who covers the Packers for The Athletic. Okay, obviously a guy who's around the team day in, day out, all the time, more than any of us right now. And he had, I think, posted a pretty bold statement last night on Twitter. And he said, Matt LaFleur's coaching for his job for the rest of this season. And I think that's a pretty bold statement. To go out there and obviously with a guy that covers the team and knows this team, around this team. And, he said, I don't think it's far-fetched to say Matt LaFleur's coaching for his job the rest of the season. Do you agree with that? And if so, do you, or what do you think is the bare minimum that LaFleur has to do to keep his job? Now, I haven't had a chance. I just saw about a little bit ago Matt Schneidman did write a column where it is about LaFleur coaching for his job for the rest of the season. And a little bit of an excerpt from it says, Jeff Hafley is coordinating a championship defense. LaFleur's offense is far from that caliber. That might need to change over the next 2 months for him to keep his job. Is that about right? Is that being a little too much, a little over-exaggeration? What happened? Where are you at on this stance? And I'm just kind of scrolling through Matt's piece here, and one little bit here says, what's happened so far this season, though, should be enough to give policy pause, specifically about the head coach whose offense has looked inept far too often. Monday night's 10-7 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles at Lambeau Field might have been rock bottom so far. Through 10 weeks, guess where the Packers sit in the NFC playoff ranks? The same number 7 seed that they occupied the last 2 seasons. There's time to change the narrative surrounding a team that began the season as a legitimate Super Bowl contender after emphatic wins over the Lions and Commanders. But the 5-3-1 Packers look just like they did a year ago, and the year before that, a good team, not a great team. And let me just, perhaps what most infuriating for the Packers and their fans is how much the offense is letting the defense down. The Cleveland Browns, the Carolina Panthers, and the Eagles are the 3 teams to beat Green Bay, and those teams scored 13, 16, and 10 points in their wins, respectively, each 3-point victories. According to ESPN research, the Packers' 3 losses, when allowing 16 or fewer points, is already their most in a season since 1978. Yeah. When you got your 3 losses. When you look at those 3 losses and you look at the point difference, that's ooh. The Packers are now averaging a meager 6.43 points per first half over their last 7 games. LaFleur has stressed in the past the need for his team to come out with, quote, hot piss, but it's been ice cold in large part since week 3. There was a point last night, too, where it just felt like in that first quarter was Green Bay only going to touch the ball 1 time in that first quarter. It almost trended that way until they got the turnover late on. Regardless of where you are at on the side of should LaFleur be on the hot seat or not, I think we can all agree that LaFleur probably, or the offense probably is not hitting the expectations, right? I think we can all agree with that. Regardless if you feel like LaFleur should be on the hot seat or not, we should probably all agree that LaFleur and this offense has left a lot to be desired. And it's not hitting the marks that we were hoping for, what we were expecting, what the status should be. Or not status, that's not the word, but not hitting its marks. Right? You can believe that. You can believe that, he shouldn't be fired. But you can also believe, or you can also say that the job performance isn't up to snuff so far. Going back to the question then, what does LaFleur have to do for the rest of the season to maybe secure his job status for next year? What does he have to do? What has to happen for LaFleur to keep his job for next year and maybe going forward? Think about that for a little bit. Hit me up with a quick text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. All right. Tell you what, let's take a quick break, give you some time to think about it, and let me know where you're at on that, all right? Regardless if you think LaFleur should be fired, retained, what has to happen? What has to happen for this ball club for LaFleur to keep his job? Okay? Let's take a quick break. Get back to some more of your texts. Coming up after these few words.
You're listening to The Dan Kasper Show.
The holidays are here, full of joy, family, friends, and yes, a little hustle and bustle. That's why you need Aleve. Between cooking, shopping, and all those extra errands, aches and pains can sneak in. Aleve is here to help with long-lasting body pain relief. Don't let body pain slow you down. With up to 12 hours of body pain relief per dose, you can keep up with the season's magic. All that awaits. Pick up Aleve and get back to what really matters, making memories. Use as directed.
Hi, I'm Chef Franklin Becker. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
With Progressive, it's easy to reach customer service with our app, website, chat, or by phone. Because when getting help is hard, it's not help at all.
Little help. A little help over here.
Thank you for calling Bench Press Assistance.
What?
Due to excessive gym volume, all available spotters are currently lifting heavy weights off the chests of other bench pressers.
Seriously?
Please continue to hold, and we will remove the barbell from your chest in the order in which your cry for help was received.
Getting assistance should be easy. With Progressive, it is. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
If you were to listen to Dan Kasper nonstop around the clock for a solid month, you'd become the king of all sports fans, desired by beautiful women, and rich beyond your dreams. I think. Try it and let's see. The Dan Kasper Show.
I'll be back. I'm going to pop open the station, but I'll do the stuff here and then I'll come back.
45 minutes left for our breakfast that's going on at Hy-Vee in Eau Claire right now. So if you are a veteran or actively still serving, get on over here for your free breakfast for the next 45 minutes. Again, a big thanks for Hy-Vee for always doing this and helping serve our veterans here. So we've got some of our friends Murph running around, some of our friends from Wax 4.5 running around here too. So, or if you just want to maybe grind your gears about the Packers loss from last night, you can join in the boatloads of fans that are doing that right now. You can hit us up with a text, 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. What do you think? The question that we've kind of been going back and forth on here this morning. For all of you that want to see maybe, or you think Matt LaFleur is on the hot seat, what would have to happen for Matt LaFleur to keep his job for next? What's the bare minimum? Is it just a playoff appearance? Is it having to win a playoff game? Is it having to go to the Super Bowl? Is it winning the Super Bowl? What is it that you would have to say or feel like, okay, he deserves another crack at this thing? Do you buy the narrative that's kind of being floated out there that he is on the hot seat? On a scale of 1 through 10, do you think he's on the hot seat? You can grab the mic if you want. You want me to plug you in?
Sure.
Yeah, all right. Let me plug you in there, sir.
Check.
That's all you were going to say?
That's all I had to say. Just want to make sure the microphone works.
Oh, this is our buddy Alex from Wax 104.5.
The thing with LaFleur is he calls them offensive plays, right?
Yes.
So he's got a little bit of that on his own.
Yes.
They're a young team, but
how much can we use that as an excuse?
I mean, I watched that.
Because you were in Dallas.
Yeah.
I mean, you were down in Dallas for that tie.
For the tie,
Yeah.
which is the weirdest thing to walk out of.
Yep.
But I mean, I watched the Commanders game on Sunday, and all the stupid penalties and ejections and everything like that. And they're not as good as the Packers, but you see the Packers making the same mistakes
Yes.
over and over and over.
Right.
That comes to coaching. I mean, sure, they're young, but somebody's got to rein them in and say, okay, whatever we need to do, we need to make sure we're not doing it. They don't seem to have that on offense, whereas the defense seems to be firing on all cylinders.
How much is it? Is it play calling? Is it the quarterback's play himself? The offensive line is not playing up to. Is it a mixture of both? It probably is a mixture of both. But ultimately, it would have to come down on one person. That's the coach, right? Who's the offensive play caller in
I
this instance.
can't imagine he's really in the hot seat. I mean, not like the Giants, where you
Right.
part with him in the middle of the season. But it also seems, and I'm sure you've talked about this before, that they seem to play up or down to their opponents. At least the Panthers. And what scares me coming into the Giants, obviously, I mean, they play Philadelphia's obviously a good team. Dallas is a good team. They beat the Steelers. They beat the Lions early on. So they're playing up or down to their opponent.
Right.
Which, I mean, we had that trap game earlier. And the Giants, permanent coach right now. So this should be an easy game, right?
You'd say, but that's what I mean. Is any game easy for Green Bay at this point?
Right.
and the other part too with this hot seat, I mean, it probably doesn't help LaFleur's case that Jeff Hafley is on the staff and he's performing well and he's a head coaching candidate, and that's what's going to get more fans like, okay, let's not lose Hafley, let's just make him the head coach. If this was like Don Capers still back in the day, then maybe he's not as much, but probably still to an extent here too. But I think that's the easy answer for a lot of fans, just give Hafley the job, but that's still a little bit of an unknown.
Yeah.
And the other part of this too is the new president and policy. We don't know what he's thinking. He begins the summer by saying, I'm not going to give contract extensions.
What is LaFleur next season?
So he began the season with 2 years left, which makes this kind of a weird thing. So policy said he wasn't going to give extensions to him or Goody because they had 2 years left. But he's not a believer in letting a coach with 1 year left.
Sure.
So it's like,
that whole little bit of
yeah.
season.
So it's like he gave the impression this is a prove-it year.
Yeah, that makes sense if you read what you can into that.
And right now, 9 games into it, does he deserve an extension? I don't. It's a tough. That's where I can't be a fan, or I can't be an owner because I'm too much of a fan. I can't make decisions like this.
And then how much does it come down to the whole kicking? I'm not sure if they would have gone into overtime, what would happen to others? I mean, it was a defensive battle. Defense wins championships, but I mean, even Philadelphia right after that. I mean, what was Philadelphia scoring per game before this? I'm sure it was 10.
Green Bay was averaging more. Green Bay was averaging more points per game on offense, and they were like top 10 statistically still heading into this game. And for whatever reason, you look at the last couple of games, there's 3 losses. Green Bay's 3 losses this year. Their defense has given up, was it 10 last night, 16 to Carolina, and 13 to Cleveland?
So again, defenses.
How do you not win those games?
Right.
And when 2 of those are at Lambeau.
You know what the key to winning every game is? Scoring more points than your opponent. Somebody write that down. At the end of the game, whoever's got more points is going to win.
Right? Yeah.
But it comes down to, I mean, if you're going to have a great defense and you're going to play a team with a great defense, you got to score some points. And,
right.
I mean, remember the greatest show on turf?
The Rams.
With the Rams.
Yep.
And they said, hey, we're going to score 45. Our defense isn't good. You also have to score 45. I mean, that was it. Our defense is iffy. If you're going to score, you got to score 45, 50 points that year.
Right. Right. And it's like, this is like the total opposite of what we were griping about when Rodgers was quarterback. He doesn't have a defense. Now we got a defense, and now we don't have an offense to go with the defense. And the head coach is the offensive play caller. I don't know the whole switching, do you give their offensive coordinator play calls? I don't know how much of a difference that would make at this point in time. I think a telling thing last night was, and a few people mentioned it too, was like that image of LaFleur when the defense was out. He's like at the back bench, looking at the tablet, trying to figure something out.
Trying to figure something out.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's earlier on in the game too. And I just feel like this is a unit that's completely lost its way.
Yeah, but the other thing that would be discouraging if this trend continues, hopefully not, is that for the most part, they have all the pieces. I mean, obviously, Tucker Kraft is a huge loss, but they have all the pieces. So, again, if you have all the pieces and you have a good defense, and the only problem is really, except the kicker, is the offense, then you start pointing fingers, and that lands on the floor.
Right. And you look at the upcoming schedule, I mean, they got a ton of division games coming up.
5 out of 7 of their last games.
Yeah.
They had one so far, way at the beginning of the season.
The Detroit one.
12 before they see another.
Yeah, and we got the Giants, and then it's Minnesota, I think, off the top of my head. Is it Minnesota? Right? Yeah, Minnesota, and then it's Detroit on a short week in Detroit. Because that's Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Another Minnesota.
And then you got Baltimore and Denver, which are 2 solid teams.
Right, solid, yeah.
So it's like, I trust the defense at this point. I don't trust the offense for doing anything. And Jade Reed, hopefully, is coming back. Maybe help him out a little bit, but you got a lot of fans too saying they need to throw the ball and let Jordan Love cook. So, do you think, where would you say 1 through 10 vibe check for you? How confident are you in this team making the postseason right now? They're at the 7th seed right now.
I'm confident they'll make it. I am not confident at all that they'll go deep. Whatever the first game is, I believe they can get there. Still, even where they're at now, obviously, they're like 7th
in the I was going to say Eastern NFC.
Yeah, I still have confidence in. But then we're talking how many games are left? Did you say?
There's 8.
8 games left.
Yeah.
Yeah, because 7. But again, 5 of those are against division opponents.
Right.
And Chicago's playing well. Minnesota's stumbling, but you never know. It's a division game too. And Detroit, obviously, is. I don't think we're going to play the same unready team that we did in Week 1.
Right.
There, so it's a tough schedule. So let's say you got to win half at least.
Yeah. Probably even more. Because that tie just screws it up a little. It actually helps them right now because it's better than a loss, but still, it's like you got 8 games, is 9 wins going to be enough?
We went, like you said, to Dallas to that game. And I've been at a tie. I was at the Vikings tie. But that was regular season. It was fall. It was great.
Was that the Matt Flynn, Scott Tolzien game, I think?
I think it was, yeah. And that was weird. But you're at home. But it's just, when you watch it on TV, the game gets done, you shut it off, and you're like, well, that kind of sucks. It's a tie. But when you're at the stadium, and the Cowboys in Dallas, they trash talk. And that's the point where you're worried they're going to really get on your face.
Right.
But they're pointing fingers and laughing. And then, but that game was so back and forth, is at one point, they're all kind of dancing around, at that point, they're real quiet. So then, you're kind of getting atmosphere. But then the game ends, and you just kind of look at each other like, I don't know. We're talking. I was talking. I don't know. We can't talk. No one can talk.
I hosted a bus. It was Packers Vikings. It was McCarthy's last year. It was like week 2. It was like hot, and that was a tie. And so I got on a bus. I'm like, all right, we got nothing to trash talk about. Everybody's getting along back home.
But I joke around because it's down there with the extra, quarter, and then you just leave, right? Nothing happens. You just get up and walk out.
It's like Talladega Nights. We'll figure out what to do with my hands.
Right, exactly.
I don't know how to
I'm not
react
happy,
to it.
I'm not sad. They just want me to go now.
Right.
Leave the state.
What do we do? What do we do?
By the way, this is so cool. Ivy does this each and every year. And, you always think about breakfast, and you think of, throw out a couple eggs and a couple sausage, but they just go over the top.
No, yeah, they do. Breakfast sandwiches. I had a breakfast sandwich. The hash browns, the eggs. I've seen people loading out their plates with it. And
it's just, we always wonder, obviously, year round, when you see somebody wearing a hat or a t-shirt or something, but you always wonder, what can I do, especially in a day like today. Well, this is one of those opportunities, so they're right here.
Yeah.
At bare minimum, just come in and shake your hand. I like the little map they have out front too.
that I keep talking about that. That one to me is when you see the pin where everybody was at. It's like kind of gives you chills a little bit.
And then you're going to be heading over to the VFW.
Yep.
Is that continuing to more like a brunch too? They start at 7:00.
They go until 10:30, I believe, but they got other stuff going on that day too. So, but I was talking to Brandon from Hy-Vee here, and they've been doing this for 26 years. He's been with Hy-Vee for 27, so he's been here from the beginning. 26 years they've been doing it. It's a company-wide thing.
They're opening in Owasso. So
yeah, actually, Phil, after this, he's going over there.
And switching over.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be closed for like, it makes it sound like the turnover is going to be pretty quick.
Yeah, he's taking a team over there, and they're getting it launched next week. I think he said so.
Pretty cool. It's a great store. We're lucky to have them. We're lucky to be a part of it.
Well, even like the meals that they've been doing last week and this week for the kids, the free meals, and the $3. We were talking about that a little bit with Brandon and such. And like they were saying, 700-800 people coming to pick up.
They didn't know it was going to be that big.
Right.
And they obviously got the word out, but they don't do it to pat themselves on the back to look at what we're doing. They just needed enough, because they really didn't come to us to really promote it.
No.
Because they didn't need our help, and they didn't want them to be the focus of this. They just wanted enough people to need that to come out and partake in this.
Right.
They do stuff like that all the time.
Yep.
Stuff we don't know about because they do it, behind the scenes.
And I think a lot of people just assume it's probably a grocery store, but they do so much more. The kids club thing, Brandon was talking to me about, they got like 300 kids that, for kiddos. They did all those cards for the veterans. I think they got something out going on almost every weekend.
Yeah, and we'll be working with them again with turkeys for Thanksgiving.
Well, and then Brandon broke the news December 14th. Live reindeer are going to be here.
What?
Yeah. They're bringing in live reindeer. He said they didn't announce it, but he said it on here, actual reindeer are going to be in the parking lot.
Bring it in the store.
Right.
They had a big flag outside too.
Yeah. Yep.
You can't miss it for everybody. So stop here. And you don't even if it's not breakfast. They have a breakfast every day of the week.
Yep.
They make it really good. They really make it so you can buy it. They do stuff right.
Exactly.
I've said Veterans Day a long time, right?
Exactly. All right, we got to take a quick break here. Continue to send us. We got a couple texts that we got to bring up here, so we'll do that. It's coming up after these really quick words.
The internet connection here is so bad.
It's kind of cuts out on it.
Yeah.
You on the main one or the public one? Or is it
I got a hotspot. Like this thing, I don't even know if it went to commercial yet because it's catching up. Yeah. Well, and then, so this is a different laptop Patrick's having me use, and it's touchscreen, and that's what
He hates touchscreens.
I know. Come on. Yeah, I don't. Quick break. So slow. So slow.
But you think they're playing?
What's that?
They are playing though? You know?
No, they're not playing. I can't hear anything.
So nothing's playing?
No.
You want me to run over?
Nope, now it goes.
Records.
You guys do a great job. I listen to you.
180! The Dan Kasper Show will be right back.
I don't know if we can from last night.
You guys are on tour all
Hi,
the time.
I'm Melissa Peterson, Market President
Yep,
at
6
Friends
to
and
10
Bank
and
in
then
Eau Claire.
go right
If
to
you're
Bill.
planning to buy your first home, your dream
So we
home
got
or
his
cabin,
full
let our
schedule.
mortgage experts guide you through the
Yep.
entire process. They'll work with
Yep.
you to find a solution
So,
that's
all
tailored to
Wisconsin
your
now.
situation. We'll take the stress out of buying a home. Learn more at friendsandbank.com/Eau
And he's
Claire. Or
gonna
stop by our
retire, and he's
convenient
hardly
location
there
today.
anyways.
Friends and Bank and Trust. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender. NMLS number 1207375.
At the rodeo, you got 8 seconds to see who's who. Now, AT&T, this ain't our first rodeo. We can spot a hustle from clear across the arena. Take T-Mobile. Well, they talk a big game, and then get smacked with challenges
appreciate
for
that.
deceptive ads. AT&T's been steady.
Now, did you serve too?
7-6. When you compare, there's no comparison.
Just hanging out.
Metrics United States Route Report 1H2025. Tested with best commercially available smartphones on 3 national mobile networks across all available network types. Your experiences may vary. Root metrics rankings are not an endorsement of AT&T based on advertising challenges filed by competitors.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Chef
Well,
Franklin
thank you
Becker.
to them.
You know the jingle. Now
Definitely.
discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Oh.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
Either sneak it or run past option.
Right, exactly.
1 yard, you need it.
The holidays are here, full of joy, family, friends, and yes, a little hustle
I mean,
and
do you
bustle.
call that
That's
a
why you
playoff
need
game,
a
too?
lead.
And that's
Between
it's
cooking,
like-
shopping, and all those extra errands, aches and pains can sneak in.
Yep.
A lead is here to help with long-lasting body pain relief. Don't let body pain slow you down. With up to 12
Right,
hours of
exactly.
body pain relief per dose, you can keep up with the season's magic and all that awaits. Pick up a leave and get back to what really matters, making memories. Use as directed.
Register to win a 2026 GMC Sierra 1500 at Menards. See store for details.
Is the government shut down or not? And what about food stamps? Let's take a look at some of our food and farm news on Sports Talk 105.1 and AM 790. The U.S. Department of Agriculture under the Trump administration has ordered states to immediately undo any steps taken to issue full supplemental nutrition assistance program or SNAP benefits for November. The USDA's memorandum is a follow-up to the guidance shared previously. States must continue to process head load SNAP benefits at a rate of 65% of previous amounts, not 100% of the benefits that were issued before November. If states fail to comply and issue SNAP benefits at 100%, the USDA will be taking various actions, including cancellation of the federal share of state administration costs and holding states liable for any amounts issued over that 65% allotment. Last week, legislation was reintroduced by 3 United States senators that would increase marketing opportunities for smaller meat processors and give consumers more options to buy local meat. The direct interstate retail exemption for certain transactions, called direct, that act is designed to give livestock and poultry producers greater access to consumers nationwide by creating a narrow exemption to allow small producers and butchers greater flexibility for interstate sales without compromising food safety or jeopardizing market access in international trade. The Direct Act would allow state-inspected meat processors to sell beef across state lines in limited quantities and through online stores direct to consumers. The bill also addresses food safety by ensuring a paper trail exists for tracing and containing potential food safety issues. Now to look at some of our food and farm news on Sports Talk 105.1 AM 790. I'm Bob Bolso.
Broadcasting live from the TDS Sports Talk 105.1 studios, it's the Dan Kasper Show.
couple texts to catch up on here. We've got, in regards to, first time text, it looks like, in regards to Green Bay and LaFleur, I'm thinking he should be let go. With the money coaches are paid, you can't be keeping him around based off of what his overall record is. He's horrible when it comes to managing the clock and close games. Several times yesterday, he had opportunities to kick field goals that would have been shorter than 64 yards and opted not to. Then with the game on the line, he elects to kick a 64-yard field goal over going for a Hail Mary after seeing his kicker miss short. And maybe the worst play calling decision of the game is when you're down by 3 in the fourth quarter, they have 2 timeouts left, and when they get to 4th and short, they decide to run a hurry-up offense and line up in an illegal formation instead of using a timeout and coming up with a play call. Thank you. Appreciate it. And by the way, when they ran that play where Josh Jacobs fumbled, they were at the 44-yard line, which also would have been a 61-62-yard try. Also, Josh Jacobs and the Eagles defense knew, I'm not sure what that word is, what play was coming. Before the ball was snapped, fire LaFleur, Green Bay should be at 9-0, but bad coaching has gotten Green Bay to 5-3-1. Now we have to listen to Bears fans break right in first place. Also, this texter, again, I'm not sure the name is, but thank you for mentioning 2 texters wrote off standing out vouchers for free meals to veterans from 11 to 2. John, let me load up your text here a little bit. I think Matt LaFleur has to keep it in the playoffs and or win the Super Bowl to keep his job. He has been the coach since 2019 and has had numerous opportunities to win a Super Bowl, but he continues to make the same mistakes. So, a lot of Paul on our YouTube stream also saying, I am here to say my bold prediction was pretty close. Yeah, dude, you were actually pretty. I didn't even think about that, Paul, but you were absolutely pretty darn close. You were, man. Pat yourself on the back. I think it's safe to say though, Paul, if you're listening, you were probably hoping your prediction would be wrong, but yeah, dude, because what you said, no touchdowns for Green Bay. You're pretty darn close, man. Were you thinking about that quite a bit watching that game last night too? Man. We only got about 20 minutes left here, so again, we're hanging out at Hy-Vee in Eau Claire for their Veterans Day breakfast. So if you are a veteran, or you have currently served, or you are currently serving, you got about 20 minutes left before they wrap it up for their free breakfast for veterans and for those who serve. So again, a big thank you to all of our veterans and those who are still serving. Got about 20 minutes left here too. If you'd like to text over a shout out, if you want me to give a shout out to anybody in particular, or just a thank you to all the veterans, hit me up with a text 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. So, got some time yet to send those on over. Would love to do that for anybody out there. So, big topic that we've been obviously talking about has been the Packers and their performance from last night. But a question we've been kind of throwing out there has been, if LaFleur is truly on the hot seat, what would he have to do, bare minimum, to maybe keep his job for next year, maybe to even get a new contract extension? Or if you don't think he is on the hot seat, or you don't think he should be, let me know why. Why do you feel that way? We've had some fans say, no, pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. We don't need to be on that fire Matt LaFleur bandwagon right now. Pump the brakes. We've had a little bit of a mixture. We've had some different responses to that. And just to kind of, my final thoughts on it as we start to wrap up this Tuesday morning program. I'm not going to be actively rooting for Matt LaFleur to be fired. I want Matt LaFleur to succeed. I want him to succeed. I don't like coaching changes. I don't like them. Obviously, if you're going through that because something, your season's probably going bad, or maybe just somebody's whatever. I don't like coaching changes, and I'm not going to be actively rooting for Matt LaFleur to be fired, because if I am, that means I'm rooting against Green Bay winning ball games. I'm a Packers fan. I want them to win games, regardless of who the coach is. Yes, I like Matt LaFleur. But we also have to take into account the job performance. I hope he succeeds, and I hope in these final 8 games, I hope he finds something, blows the door off this thing, and all of a sudden the offense is just humming, paired up with that defense, and we win the final 8 games, and we're rocking and rolling into the postseason. I'm not going to actively root against him, because that means I'm rooting against Green Bay winning games. I can't do that. I want him to succeed. But I have questions. I have concerns from what we've seen so far. Anybody who's watched these games, anybody who has kind of followed along, I think we can all see a lot of the same things. We may all have different opinions on whether he should be fired or whether he should be let go, but I think for the most part we can all agree that there's just something still missing from the offense. Consistency, confidence. It looks like an offense that is not playing with a ton of confidence right now. And I don't know if they can I don't know if they can fix it within the final 8 games or not. But time will tell. Time will tell in these final 8 games if they're going to be able to finish that or to kind of change it around. And when you look at the rest of the schedule, it's going to be incredibly tough. We've got Paul saying pump the brakes on Fire Matt. I like him. He has done great over the years. We all have fans where we stink at work. And the example that I've kind of thrown out there is the Philadelphia Eagles. Because it was a couple of years ago after the Eagles lost it in the Super Bowl to the Kansas City Chiefs. It was that year after Eagles had a down in regular season, and there was a lot of talk that Nick Sirianni could be fired. A year after leading his team to a Super Bowl, there was a lot of momentum. There was a lot of momentum surrounding whether Nick Sirianni could be fired. And there was probably, I think odds were that it looked like he was going to. Philly elected to keep him. What did they do different? They completely overhauled his assistants, his coordinators. They brought in Vic Fangio. They brought in Kellen Moore to be the offensive coordinator. And what do they do that first year? They win a Super Bowl. Now, I'm not saying that's going to be that's the recipe to fix what's going on right now in Green Bay. But that's an example of maybe where you got some fans saying, pump the brakes on this thing. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves with moving on from Matt LaFleur. I don't want to speak for the fans who are saying that, but I don't know if that would be kind of the essence of that. Let's not over exaggerate from 1 year. I mean, there's a couple of factors in here why I think you have a lot more people talking about Matt LaFleur and his shot test. One is just Micah Parsons effect. You acquire Micah Parsons, the expectations are going to be excruciatingly high this year. I mean, you got your GM last offseason saying, I think it's time we compete for championships. And then your GM follows that up by saying, or by acquiring Micah Parsons and giving up 2 first-round picks. The other part is he has a defensive coordinator who's going to be a hot name for a head coaching job elsewhere. You factor all just a couple of those, and we could go through a couple of other examples of that, and that is going to put the pressure on a guy like Matt LaFleur that there's going to be very little room for error. And I think you have a fan base, and maybe in some retrospective from the media world and that factor all that and look at all that and say, all right,
He's got a coordinator that is going to get head coaching look, or going to get looked at as a head coach. You make a move, a franchise-altering move like Michael Carson, yet you're 5-3-1. Where does the blame go to if they don't make the playoffs, or they don't make a deep postseason run? It's probably going to go to the head coach. Whether that's right or wrong, it's probably going to go to the head coach. There's definitely some issues within this offense. For whatever reason, something's just not going. And maybe it's just something as simple as, you know what, they can't get anything going because the offensive line is just going to play so inconsistent, so up and down. Penalties, the taking one step forward, 2 steps back, never able to get into a rhythm. It's probably a combination of a lot of those factors. What do we got here for a text? Mark says, DK just left the VFW, and I'd like to give a shout out to your peeps from the rock station there hanging out with the veterans who are there for breakfast. Great turnout, great fun. I'll see you there in a bit. Yep, we're going to be, we'll all be heading over to the VFW after this. We start to wrap up things here in just a little bit. So, thanks, Mark, for that text. A couple more texts coming in here. We got Derek saying, I think Matt LaFleur should absolutely be on the hot seat with his job performance this year. It was a Super Bowl or bust year, and if you don't make the postseason or you don't win a postseason game, sorry to say, but that should be a fireable offense. Got another texter also coming in and saying the difference between Sirianni and LaFleur is LaFleur hasn't made the Super Bowl. In his prime was making the NFC Championship with Rodgers. He was embarrassed after barely making the playoffs last year, so you can't compare that to a coach that made it almost once. I'm not comparing them to coaches. I'm not comparing the coaches. They're misunderstanding. I'm comparing them to the decision-making process between the Packers and the Eagles. I'm comparing the two examples of super high expectations, where the Eagles obviously had super high expectations coming off of a Super Bowl appearance, and there was this talk about potentially moving on from him, which would probably surprise a lot of teams and their fan bases. A year removed from the Super Bowl, you're talking about moving on from the coach, but instead the Eagles changed it up and brought in some veteran coordinators to help out their head coach. The point we're trying to get across is that something that Green Bay has to do, although they're not going to move on from Jeff Hafley unless they have to move on from him because of head coaching opportunities. So I'm not comparing Nick Sirianni to Matt LaFleur as coaches, I'm comparing situations. Doug says Matt LaFleur is a great coach. 2 things. He needs to learn how to get the team charged up and find an O-line combo that is disciplined. North is breathing down his neck like never before. Final thoughts? Hit us up with the text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. You can hit us up over there. You can hit us up on the YouTube stream if you'd like. Put in your comments over there for the last couple minutes of the program here. Again, we've got about 10 minutes left. If you're heading into the vehicle and such, you can head on over here to Hy-Vee in Eau Claire to grab yourself free breakfast if you are a veteran, or if you are currently serving, stop on by, get your free breakfast. They also got some deals going on later on today. Let me bring those up here for Hy-Vee if you want to do a little bit of shopping as well. I believe brands are like 15% off for your groceries and such too. So if you want to do a little shopping while you're here, do that. Take advantage of that as well. So a couple more texts. I'll save those coming up here in just a second. We got to take our final break. It's going to be a really quick one, and we'll be back to wrap up things after these quick words.
take on today's topic but can't call in? Then hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or the text line and let your fingers do the talking.
The holidays are here, full of joy, family, friends, and yes, a little hustle and bustle. That's why you need Aleve. Between cooking, shopping, and all those extra errands, aches and pains can sneak in. Aleve is here to help with long-lasting body pain relief. Don't let body pain slow you down. With up to 12 hours of body pain relief per dose, you can keep up with the season's magic and all the waits. Pick up Aleve and get back to what really matters, making memories. Use as directed.
Hi, I'm Chef Franklin Becker. You know the jingle. Now discover about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic 5, 1, and 2 milligrams.